When renowned crime novelist Harlan Thrombey is found dead the morning after his 85th birthday, his sprawling dysfunctional family all become suspects. But when a master detective arrives to investigate, the web of lies, inheritance and resentment begin to unravel, wildly out of control. Rian Johnson's Knives Out sliced through the box office in 2019, a love letter to the whodunit genre with a modern twist. Boasting an all-star ensemble led by Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas, it proved that murder mystery was alive and kicking. My name is Luke, and the two fellas with me who have a regurgitative reaction to mistruthing are Matt.
What were the overheard words by the Nazi child masturbating in the bathroom?
And Westy.
That was the dumbest car chase of all time.
ATRM are investigating a donut hole in the donut hole. The game is afoot. Hi everyone, welcome to All the Right Movies, a podcast on classic and hit films where we will not eat one iota of shit.
No, not. No, definitely not.
We're telling the story of Hollywood one film at a time, and this time it's a bona fide modern classic.
It is that.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig with that accent, it's Chris Evans in that sweater, it's Rian Johnson's delightful Knives Out.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Should be on fucking TV with that accent.
But before I go rummaging through the Thrombey estate, it is that time when we tell you about becoming an ATRM patron.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you're listening to is our flagship podcast, a brand new episode of which comes out every 2 weeks. Huge deep dives into the biggest films, and the most recent 20 episodes are available on all podcast platforms. The rest, well over 100 episodes now, are in our podcast archive.
There's certain to be a load of films that you like in there. We've covered all the classics. You can listen to everything in there by signing up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Patreon.
And also on YouTube and Patreon, you can listen to 2 brand new podcasts that we create every month. These are The Watch List, where we review new release movies, and Double Feature, where we talk about films that we wouldn't necessarily get to on this show just yet.
Yes, indeed.
That's the plan.
There are hundreds and hundreds of episodes, a whole dynasty of content waiting for you. On Patreon, you can also vote for the films that we talk about and ask us questions for the show as well.
Indeed.
That's patreon.com/allrightmovies.
Easy as that.
Easy peasy.
Easy
if you do
peasy.
like us and you can support us, we'll make sure you're not written out of the will. Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys.
You'll be in there. Yeah.
Now, Matt, you chose this film, so the spotlight is on you first. You've been talking about it for a while. You've wanted to do it for a while.
That's true.
Why do you want to talk about Knives Out?
I mean, I'm just a fan of talking about films where their success is completely against expectations. I mean, where did this come from?
Yeah.
The whodunit murder mystery wasn't exactly ripping up trees. No one was begging for that genre to come back. So for Rian Johnson to come up with this, to come up with a completely new idea with a new character, he doesn't do what Guy Ritchie did with Sherlock Holmes, take an old one and just reinvent them so you didn't even recognize him anymore.
Yeah.
He created someone new. Cast Daniel Craig, of all people, in the lead with this
James Bond.
outrageously entertaining central performance that no one could predict. This should have been just a moderate success, maybe a cult film. But for it to land in the way that it did, critically and commercially, I think the achievement of this to be as massive as it was can't be understated. And I think one of the great things about it is it doesn't matter that you know how this is going to end now, because the journey is just so much fun every time.
Yeah.
The way
Right, yeah.
Johnson twists and turns the plot, it becomes this ride of not knowing where you're going, but the joy of it is trying to keep up with it all the same.
Yeah.
And realizing you're in the hands of someone who's treating the audience with intelligence. And ultimately, if you don't like Knives Out, then eat shit. And eat shit.
Eat
You
shit.
definitely eat shit.
Wonderful. What about you, Westy?
Yeah, this is one that escaped me at the cinema. I was kind of put off by it, just
Okay.
thinking, it seemed a bit try-hard and a bit needy. I wasn't a big fan of Brick. I really liked Looper, and then I saw the Star Wars stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm not too sure about
Up
this.
and down with Johnson.
And just really up and down with him. And I just thought, I think it looked really try-hard, like I say, like he's swinging the bat at something that shouldn't really exist, and he's just going to really fall flat on this, because I didn't realise how into this genre he actually is.
Yeah,
and when I watched it, I was so surprised, so relieved. but just so entertained from start to finish. Like, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. And like Matt said, it's just kind of being at the theme park where waiting in the queue is actually more entertaining than the ride itself. And then when you get on the roller coaster, you're like, oh, I was really entertained just looking at everything that was around there in the queue. Just kind of the anticipation's better than the payoff. And it is such a lovely ride. He does so well. It's so intricate. There's so many brilliant filmmaking techniques in here, so many narrative swerves. His writing's incredible, his direction's incredible, and all the performances just deliver, and they've all seemed to have their little niche within the film. Nobody overlaps at all with their own performances. There's really original characters built into it. There's not like, oh, there's the butler, or there's this person who you've seen a billion times. There's no real stereotypes in this, and even Blank is a stereotype of Daniel Craig, which is almost like a stereotype of Bond, really, which is what he's tapping into. And I think Daniel Craig, like I've said before, I think he enjoys playing this character more than he does enjoy playing James Bond.
Much more.
Yeah, I would agree.
Definitely.
And I think the whole film just lands. It just sits really, really nice. There was a perfect time for it to come out. Rian Johnson, of all people, delivers.
He really does. I, like you, Matt, I saw this at the cinema on release. Incredibly positive reviews. They were a big motivator for me to go and see it. And I loved it from the word go. Just great cast, great setting. I love a good murder mystery. And I feel the genre seemed to have kind of been lost until this film brought it racing back into public consciousness. Best of all, it's just the writing. I mean, it's just a delightfully laid piece of work that always keeps you guessing. And no matter how many times I've seen it, I still need to listen intently to understand how Ransom actually did it. And I still don't absolutely know the truth.
We'll try and get there. I'm sure the three of us can figure it out.
But knowing the killer doesn't spoil the film. This has rewatchability slapped all over it.
Yeah, it's better when you do know.
It is. It is. Then you can
relax a bit with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just a bloody good time, and it always will be.
Yeah.
Knives Out was written and directed by Rian Johnson, co-produced by Johnson and Ram Bergman for MRC and T Street Productions, distributed into movie theaters by Lionsgate on November 27th, 2019. Shot on location in Massachusetts with some set work, it stars Daniel Craig as the last of the gentleman sleuths, Benoit Blanc, Ana de Armas as Marta Cabrera, Chris Evans as Ransom Drysdale, and they're supported by one of the best casts around, including ATRM favourite Jamie Lee Curtis, Christopher Plummer, Toni Collette, Michael Shannon, Don Johnson, Lakeith Stanfield, and M. Emmett Walsh, to name only a handful.
Yes.
Okay, so my house, my rules, my coffee. We're headed to the Ames Mansion for the opening act of Knives Out.
The beginning.
We're welcomed to the imposing Thrombey world by two Alsatians before the man of the house is found dead by his housekeeper, his throat slit. We then fast forward to 1 week after Harlan Thrombey's demise. We're back at the house where detectives are carrying out some family interviews. And you're taking it away, Matt.
I mean, people talk about great character introductions in cinema and they'll say, you know, Orson Welles, The Third Man, Omar Sharif, Lawrence of Arabia. I think this is up there because it's so easy to miss the fact that Blanc is there all along. You can just about see his legs at the side of the frame. But it's when those questions start exactly, and everyone gets into this stride and it's like, right, okay, I think I've got this figured out. Then, bing, hits that piano key, and that's the end of that. Brilliant. And it's such a great touch that when he announces his presence, he's out of focus in the background. It isn't until he's hit that key a few times that he comes into focus, and that's when you realise, despite not saying a word, he's the one controlling this whole process. And what's great is that every time he hits the key, it's because the conversation's gone off track or he's heard everything he needs to hear from that person. So you're thinking, well, what's he picking up on there? What have they given away that I haven't picked up on? And we think that. And then it's when Richard, played by Don Johnson, he just pays attention and goes, I have a question. Who the fuck is that? And then you get your proper look at Blanc sitting there with such confidence in himself, the little smile on his face, playing with a coin. But as soon as you hear that accent, I'm here on the behest of a client. I mean, you just think, well, this is amazing. I love this guy already. I want to know where this is going.
Brilliant.
And then the introduction of the family members is done so neatly as well. You get such a quick handle on who they all are, where the tensions in this family are, who doesn't like who, for what reason. And it's so funny when it's cutting between Walt, Meg, and Richard talking about Jacob. And Walt says, my son Jacob, he's 16, very politically active. That cut Richard. The boy is literally a Nazi.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then back to Walt, just looking really guilty, like, kids today with the internet, it's amazing. Like, he knows exactly what Jacob is. So, so much groundwork is laid out here in terms of introducing Blanc, who he is, who everyone in the family is, what their setup with each other is like, how they all view Harlan. and it feels so effortless. Just this incredible roster of actors, one after another, amazing production design already, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah.
You get through this setup and you just think, I'm just raring to go with the rest of this film.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Jamie Lee Curtis identified with the character of Linda, being the daughter of famous parents. She said that people have a funny way of taking away anything you do creatively and reduce it to your privilege.
Yeah. Curtis assumed the role of the family matriarch. She was coming off the back of Halloween on this, so she was riding high. Assuming the role of the family matriarch, she cooked meals for the cast and befriended the woman who owned the house. More on that later.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
She said, I treated the house as if it were mine, which is nice. You can see she feels well at home.
Oh,
she
definitely.
does,
Yeah.
She's the most comfortable character, most grounded in the whole thing, yeah.
And at the 17-minute mark, there's a photo of Richard, Linda, and Ransom in the foreground as Walter's calling Ransom the black sheep of the family. And that picture was inserted digitally in post-production using green screen, and it was done so that the audience could put a name to the face, because at this point, we've not yet been introduced to Ransom.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It's in the foreground. It's in focus, and everything else in the shot is blurred.
I don't even know when to bring all these points up, but there's so many little moments. I mean, that photograph of Ransom, first time you've seen him, is behind an elephant statue because he knows to turn after the statue so he's not caught on the cameras.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's
Very
just
nice.
all these little bits all the way through.
Yeah.
A lovely little detail as well during the interview scenes is when there's a flashback to the night of it's a different child sat next to Harlan as the cake's being put down.
Yeah, that's
depending
right,
on who's telling the story.
Right. Yeah.
It's totally some couple, isn't it, at some point?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I love that none of the family can decide on where Marta is from.
No.
Is she from Ecuador or
Uruguay,
Paraguay,
Brazil?
That's great. Everybody wanted her at their funeral, but everyone was outvoted by the other one.
Yeah, that's such a great running joke. I wanted you there, but I was outvoted.
So nobody wanted her there, which is incredible.
Yeah.
The moment where Joni says that she knows of blank from a tweet about an article in the New Yorker, a case about a tennis player. This is a reference to Sleuth, Joseph L. Mankiewicz' 1972 mystery starring Laurence Olivier and Michael Caine. At the start of the film, Olivier's character is dictating the ending of his latest novel, Death by Double Fault, about a body in a tennis court.
Brilliant. Death by Double Fault. I want to read that.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah.
It also ties into a scene later on where Ransom's reading Marta's blackmail note. Visible on the coffee table are copies of the New Yorker.
Right.
It's when the plan is unraveled right at the end.
Yeah.
So this hints that that's where Ransom got the idea to hide Blanc in the first place.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Blanc hitting the note on the piano, if you notice Detective Elliot Lakeith Sandfield's character, he then follows with a question relating to the time that certain person arrived at the house. And it's also being suggested that he hits the key when someone is lying.
Right. Johnson has a couple of ever-presents in the cast, actors who have appeared in all of his films. Noah Segan, who plays Trooper Wagner, the policeman and Harlan Thrombey's fanboy. He's great.
Yes. Yeah.
So funny. Yeah. But there's also a blink and you'll miss it voice cameo from Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, he plays the part of Detective Hard Rock, a character in the TV show that Marta's sister is watching at the start of the film.
That's right. Yeah. It is blink and you'll miss it. That
it really
very much. Literally 2 lines. Yeah,
because it's low in the mix, but his dialogue's ludicrous. He says, "You slashed his face open, you left him bleeding in the street like a stuck pig. Then you crushed his skull with a forklift and burned his hands off to erase the fingerprints." Great.
That was just an outtake from Brick, wasn't it?
Yeah, both of those actors are in both the Knives Out sequels as well.
Yeah.
Gordon-Levitt plays the owly dong in Glass Onion, interestingly.
Yes.
Ludicrous.
And there are a few deleted scenes cut from the film. In one, Blanc goes to Walt and Donna's home and finds out from Donna that Walt's injured leg, which allegedly happened during a bike accident, actually happened at night when he got into a tangle with some unsavory types that he owes money to.
Great. Yeah, in another scene, Blanc's got a skin rash, which leads him to a confrontation with Joni about her Flam beauty products line. And he comes to the conclusion that she's actually broke.
Okay,
right. That's why she left Twitter, wasn't it? For complaints.
That's right, yeah.
I'm on Instagram. DM me on Instagram, not on Twitter anymore.
That's great. I love that bit as well when you mentioned, Westy, about I read a tweet about an article about you. Not the article.
Not the article.
Just the
headline.
She hasn't got time.
So both of those scenes give each character a motivation for bumping Harlan off, which is, I think we've got that already, but I don't think we need the additional scenes.
No.
So after these characters have been established and we understand their angles, it's great to see them squirm under Harlan's microscope for all of their dirty dealings.
Mm-hmm.
The sequence where Harlan clears house and cuts Walt, Ransom, Richard and Joni out. I love that each character revels in the other person's misery, but the smile is wiped clean off their faces when they're accused of something heinous.
Yeah.
And Rian Johnson does a great job of intertwining interviews with flashbacks and different perspectives, and then returning back to the present with a different interviewee telling their perspective of that story that we saw in flashback. Yeah. Great. Richard, played by Don Johnson, just such a blabbermouth.
Yeah. He's brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fantastic. He can't wait to dish the dirt on Walt. He says he'd get into it with Harlan, and it cuts to Blanc, and his beady blue eyes wide, and he say, "Did they get into it at the party?" Fantastic.
Yeah.
But when the heat starts to rise on Richard, he then tries to implicate Joni. What a sniffling little shit.
Yeah, he totally is, yeah.
Don Johnson's great in this role. I think he could get lost in the crowd, but he really stands out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic.
And from a plotting point of view, we get motivation for all involved. Joni's been double dipping, Walt's cut out, Richard's been cheating on Linda, so they all have something to hide. And Rian Johnson, that is, not Don Johnson. Rian Johnson presents the information so deliciously.
Yes.
And a lot of the action takes place in Harlan's study. And one of art director Jeremy Woodward's tasks was to design the jackets for the body of Harlan's work over 4 decades. So this meant that giving them an identity specific to the period that they were written in, taking into consideration Harlan's journey through life, where he was at personally at that time as well. So they've all got an identity, and there's not a display of them as such. They're just dotted around the place. Such attention to detail.
Yeah.
It's there if you're looking for it, and it's just absolutely great. Just gives so much texture to the film.
Yeah. So the character of Harlan Thrombey was named after a character in the 1981 adventure novel Who Killed Harlow Thrombey, which I think was a guess your own
like
ending.
Choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure,
Yeah, Rian Johnson loved it.
Yeah.
And great Nana Winetta is played by Kay Cullen. And despite playing Harlan's mother, she's actually 6 years younger than Christopher Plummer, who was 90 years old at the time.
Wow. That's a great fact.
Yeah,
That's great. I love it when Linda's asked how old she is and she doesn't know. She has no
Nobody
idea.
knows. Yeah, we have no idea. That's amazing. You don't question it either. You just love the casting, don't you? It's like Last Crusade. It doesn't matter.
It's great.
Love when Walt shouting at her, asking if she's eating.
For dinner?
She's had the whole salmon party to eat.
That's wonderful. Well, we're going to break and take our first question from an ATRM patron. That's one of the benefits we mentioned at the top. If you support us on Patreon, you can ask us questions. And our first one comes from Heather Armentrout. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Heather says, "Hello, gents. Greetings from Las Vegas." Ooh, crossing the globe. I love
nice.
it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, lovely.
Heather says, "Christopher Plummer did some of his best work well into the 80s, including such gems as Spike Lee's Inside Man, his Oscar-winning performance in Beginners, and hilarious voice work on Disney's Up.
Yes,
that's true.
What are some of your favourite performances from actors flourishing into their golden years? Golden years.
It's great in the New World as well. Wonderful.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Heather ends it with, "Thank you for all your great work on the podcast." That is our pleasure, Heather. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, yeah.
Westy, you want to take that first?
Well, I mean, there's one of my very, very favourites, and we spoke about this on Double Feature, and it's Richard Farnsworth in The Straight Story.
Oh, brilliant.
Beautiful.
100%.
Yeah.
That's always going to come straight to mind, which links beautifully into Harry Dean Stanton in Lucky as his last performance.
Right.
I think that's beautiful, beautiful stuff. And that links nicely into Bruce Dern into Nebraska, which I think is a wonderful performance.
Yeah.
And then Christopher Lee. These are all kind of like last performances, I think. And then Christopher Lee in Lord of the Rings, which I think was the role he was born to play. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and he's having so much fun in that. So them 4 guys for me.
Wonderful. What about you, Matt?
One crossover there, I was also going to mention Bruce Dern for Nebraska, but also he's amazing in The Hateful Eight.
He is, yeah.
He's also great in Django. He's only got the one scene, but he is great in Django Unchained as well.
Yeah.
Just he seems to have found a new lease life as these really hateful characters for Tarantino. Other ones that stand out for me, though, June Squibb, also in Nebraska, but in Thelma, the film that was out a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Yep, still turn out great performances. And I thought Joe Pesci in The Irishman, thought that was the best he'd been in absolutely years.
Love it.
Yeah.
Because that character is not Tommy from Goodfellas, but he's just as scary in his own way.
Yeah, I think the thing about Pesci, and the thing about Harry Dean Stanton as well, is they always looked over 50 years old, no matter what.
They've always been at least middle-aged.
So I've never really thought of Pesci as like being, is he old now?
No, he's always been like that.
He's always been like that.
Yeah, great. There is one crossover. I was going to say Richard Farnsworth as well in The Straight Story.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Just one of the most affecting screen performances ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable, yeah.
Wonderful. You didn't mention Alan Arkin in Little Miss Sunshine.
Very nice.
Yes. Great shout.
Love that.
He's
Really
in there and
poignant
he's-
as well.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
fantastic in
yeah.
that film.
Very much.
Yeah, he's great in Argo as well.
And then he pops up in
Yes.
Argo a few years later. Wonderful.
Argo, fuck yourself.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's great.
His interplay with John Goodman, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, he's into play with anybody in anything.
Yeah. And finally, I want to throw in a curveball. It's Ellen Burstyn. That's not the curveball because she's amazing in everything she's in.
Correct.
But her work in TV, season 4 of The Louis Show, I don't know if you caught it. She's got about 3, 4, 5 episodes and it's just beautiful. So much warmth and depth and decades of acting experience, a real heartwarming performance.
Right.
And the fact that she's in her 90s now and she's still out there finding interesting things to do.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a whole episode in itself, isn't it? Talking about this.
Yeah,
To
it
be
is, it
honest,
really is.
we could go on for ages.
We could. So let's get back to it. Thank you for the question, Heather.
Yeah,
Thanks, Heather.
wonderful question. Thank you, Heather.
And over to you, Westy. You're picking up the action here.
We're still in the middle of the interviews, but this is where we're introduced to Marta, or more importantly, where Blank's introduced to Marta. Now, this is just so clever through performance, through blocking, through everything that we're going to be introduced to. Like, he's sussed it out now. As soon as she walks through that door, he looks down, he looks at her shoes, and then looks at her and says, I've been poking around. As he says that, he looks down at her shoes again and knows for a fact there's just been there's blood on her shoe. So that's it. And from there, he's manipulating her all the way through the film. Yeah. And then obviously later on, he quotes Sherlock Holmes and he says there's something afoot. And every time he says there's something afoot, he references her involvement and all of it, this is kind of where it all comes from. I love the fact that she is not in the study yet. He interviews her first outside, so it's more natural, it's more honest, it's more of a creative space where she can breathe and she can just be honest about things, because I think even now he knows that she might have something wrong where she needs to be sick or something else is going to happen. So he's given her that safe space in which to do it. And that's where we find out the regurgitative reaction to mistruth.
Amazing dialogue, that.
Yeah. And that it's brilliant dialogue. And how can I say it subtly? How can I just, say he's just forever the gentleman. Wonderful. That cigar, which is just an obvious nod to Columbo that he's figuring it out, and that cigar's in there. Doesn't seem like a cigar smoker really, but it totally fits the character. And then we find out as an audience that could be played just so stupidly for laughs. That every time she lies, I mean, imagine that in like The Naked Gun or something. She has to tell a lie and it'd just be stupid. But this is just so beautifully laid out. It's just like this little nugget of information. And you genuinely feel sorry for her because you know that she's suffering with this. It's like an ailment that she's had all of her life and she can't really explain it. Which could tap into eating problems, or it could tap into anxiety, or it could tap into depression, or anything that she's been through with her, her mom, and the fact that she could be deported at any time. It all leads back to these like issues that she could have with just worry and panic. And it's so carefully done. But then when she is pushed and she does lie, and she throws up in the pig statue, which obviously shows that she's allergic to like greed and wealth, and throws up and uses them to like catch the vomit so it's not spilling anywhere else, which is a fantastic touch, and that motif comes up again later on. Then we'll find out, because of that ailment that she has, Blanc doesn't necessarily push it, but he knows when to stop it, and the other two guys are there to kind of say, right, that's enough. But he finds out all three motives in this scene. It reinforces
fantastic.
All three motives. Really well played out. I mean, the writing of just this scene is a short film in itself, of how you interview somebody who's a suspect but not necessarily a suspect. So you're on her side at the minute. It just flows from here. It's just fantastic stuff.
Right at the start of this scene, I absolutely love it when Marta's inside and she can hear Blanc and the two policemen talking, and she's guilty as sin. The weight of the world is on her shoulders. She leans in, listening to the conversation outside before Blanc's eye comes peering in through the window. That's really funny.
Yeah. And the grand painting of Harlan wasn't really there. It wasn't completed before production started, so it had to be added in digitally during post-production. Johnson said every single shot you see in the movie with the painting in it was a green screen. We took a high-quality photo of the painting and they comped it in every shot.
Nice.
Seamless?
Yeah, it is seamless. Well, this painting is fantastic, and I'm not sure if it changes all the way through the film. I feel like it does, but there's a definite smile at the end when you see that painting again.
It
goes from a frown, confused, to when everything's figured out and she last looks at it again, you get that close-up and there's that definite little tiny smile.
Definitely.
It's subtle, but it's there.
Yeah.
Such a great move.
It is. It's wonderful. Johnson knew that Marta had to lie during the film and wanted to make it as difficult as possible for the character to get out of it. And he was inspired by a scene from David Mamet's House of Games from 1987, where the characters talk about certain tells that people have when they're lying.
Nice.
And he came up with this.
Yeah, he said, given the tone of the movie, what's something a little splashier, so to speak, that we can write? And so I thought, well, maybe she pukes when she lies, and she can't hide that, so that would be fun.
Right.
It is fun. It's really memorable. And we can buy it because of the things that you said, Westy. It might be like kind of like an extreme reaction to certain circumstances, traumas in the past. So it is buyable.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Because it's not overhand or overplayed.
No.
That's right. And it's beautifully paid off in that scene as well at the end.
Oh yeah. It's a wonderful thing when it comes full circle. So many things come full circle. It's ridiculous. It's like the Olympic badge. There's circles in it.
So a seemingly open and shut case has now been blown wide open with tales of rejection and tales of infidelity.
Yes.
With Marta back inside, we're now going to dig into the reason for Benoit Blanc's presence before going back to the night of and the circumstances surrounding Harlan's death. And I'm starting with an explanation of Blanc's presence at the house. This morning, somebody dodged a very important question, and that somebody was Benoit Blanc.
Yeah.
He's unaware who hired him, but it compels him. An envelope of cash shows up at his apartment and a news clipping. And I love that Wagner says, an envelope, that worked. And Blanc's reaction is an envelope of cash.
An envelope
wonderful.
Of cash. It's like that big word. Right? Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
And now this is a mystery inside the murder. Why would somebody anonymously hire a private detective to solve a seemingly straightforward suicide case? As he says, it makes no damn sense.
Yeah.
And before it all spirals out of control, Johnson pulls the strings together for the audience by having Detective Elliot go back to the night of and give us everyone's whereabouts, timestamps, circumstances. It reinforces characters, reinforces motivations, gives us the on-the-surface facts that we've got and brings us up to speed. It's not all the details, and we'll find those out later with very different perspectives. But Johnson packages everything together so very neatly here just to make sure that we're on track because there are loads of things happening.
Yeah.
It's real smart writing.
Yeah, it is.
And editing as well, and the structure of it. Great stuff.
Yeah. And then from there, Marta interviewed again, and this is when we get her flashback. And I mean, to follow on from what our patron Heather said, Christopher Plummer is just so good in this. I mean, he's got 7 or 8 minutes of screen time maybe, but he just dominates the film all the same. His presence is there. And Harlan is so in control of everything. He's in control of his family, but even in control of his own death. When he realizes Marta's given him an overdose, he doesn't freak out. You gave me 100 milligrams of the good stuff. What is the good stuff dosage supposed to be? And Marta, obviously in sheer panic, let's not call it that right now, okay? 3 milligrams. And then hits reply, oh, that's much less. Just like, that's fine. That's cheap.
That's loads.
And then she says, I'm going to give you an emergency shot so you don't die in 10 minutes. Oh, well, no pressure. That's fine. Like, it's just the epitome of calm. And I love how he starts jotting this down for future novel. Like, oh, this is really interesting. I could use this.
So, dying out on this. This is great.
Yeah.
So is he already putting it together in his head that this isn't an accident? Marta would not make this accident. She's too good. So is he putting it together? Don't know. Maybe there's that ambiguity, which I really like. I think de Armas is brilliant here because she just epitomizes that horrible feeling in the pit of your stomach when you've messed something up badly. And she's messed up to the worst possible degree here. So she's excellent.
She's fantastic,
And it's that level of compassion that Harlan shows in his final moments. All he cares about is protecting Marta and the inheritance that she doesn't know about yet. And also because he knows about her family and where they've came from and what will happen to them if she gets into trouble. I mean, that is so resonant today. Like his last action scene to protect Marta, considering some of the news we're watching at the minute. So it's a brilliant scene because everything is now turned on its head. And what we thought was going to be the case isn't the case at all. But no one knows that apart from Marta.
Yeah.
I love de Armas. The contrast in just her real warmth of character when she's playing Go with Harlan and she's making jokes. They've obviously got an amazing relationship, but then that turns when she gives him the overdose. And like you said, Matt, that sickness feeling, it's palpable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I also love it that when she's being interviewed, she's positioned in the ring of knives as opposed to everybody else who have been kind of like set aside adjacent to it.
Yeah.
All the knives are focused in on her head here.
And as we've been talking about, the impressive circular knife prop plays a big part in proceedings. Johnson said, I had that written into the script as a religious icon made of knives, a big halo of knives.
Yeah, they went through a load of different designs that didn't hit the spot for Johnson, but just a few days before production started, production designer David Crank found a huge industrial barbecue grate, which cut the mustard.
Nice.
Once the prop knives were mounted on it, Johnson was blown away. I mean, it's one great movie prop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want it in your house. It's fairly threatening, isn't it?
It is threatening.
Imagine that as soon as you walked in, you're just come and sit in front of this. No, I'm all right, thanks. I'll see you later.
And Crank was also tasked with filling the grand old house with artifacts and details that one would expect to see in Harlan Thrombey's house, and it's a visual representation of Harlan's mind.
Yes, yeah, you can see that. Set decorator David Schlesinger found an old dollhouse. I don't know why they're finding barbecue grates in old dollhouses. Where they're searching the skips.
Yeah.
Crank said, I looked at it and said, what's the worst thing you could do with a child's toy? Why don't we turn it into a bar? So that's the bar in the library.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. All of the set decoration as well. There's loads of skulls and skeletons and everything in all of the paintings, which is what they used to do in Victorian times. It was the memento mori of like, remember that you're mortal, remember that you're going to die.
Yes.
So no matter how much wealth you have, death is always there.
Yeah.
And that's littered all the way through the whole house. I think the house itself, as a character, is fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's one of the great movie houses.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it is.
And this game of Go that they're playing is quite telling, because Marta says that she's able to win because she's not trying to beat Harlan, she's trying to build a beautiful pattern. And that's what happens in the film. Everyone's trying to get what they can from Harlan, whereas Marta just wants to do the right thing, even if that does mean her going to jail.
Yeah, amazing. But she does win by being, the darker side, moving through the whiter side, which is the immigrant walking through the white privilege and just playing it with kindness.
That's great.
And that's how it cuts through.
That's a great visual.
Yeah.
There's a nice bit of foreshadowing here as well when Harlan's talking about ransom. He says that he doesn't know the difference between a stage prop and a real knife.
Yeah.
And we see that playing out at the end when he tries to
another
take
circle.
Marta down. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Great.
So seeing how much he cares about Marta, and then it just goes to this wonderful moment where we've seen it like 100 times, but not as fresh or as clear or as concise as this, where he gives her this list of how to get out of it and is almost reading it from a book. And the voiceover work is fantastic.
It is.
Plummer.
Yeah.
It's so well positioned and so well played through. It's Rian Johnson's work of time manipulation here and his grasp on filmmaking technique and how you are just not lost at all. Call attention to the time. Oh, it's midnight. Walking straight out. This has been parodied so many times, but he brings it back to kind of where it belongs and you take it seriously. The confusion about the before, the after with the elephant. She's questioning the voiceover as she's moving and driving. It's like, that's brilliant. That's really well worked in. And obviously she goes in front of it, which is supposed to go behind, which we'll find out later on when they're reviewing the tapes. That's really important. Then she climbs the trellis, but then she's at the bottom and she says, you've got to be kidding me. And then the voiceover just replies, I'm not. It's just so great. So well done and put together. You must have been writing this going, yes, I'll do that. That's class. I've seen that somewhere. And then when you say it, there's that child coming through the painting that hides the windows. There's that false wall. So that painting of the kid actually shows what's going to happen through the window. So that's brilliant. That's a little bit of foreshadowing. She comes through. You see she doesn't scrape her foot on the windowsill. She totally avoids that. So on second viewing, that's really rewarding. And then when she drops down, don't be seen, and then drops down at the bottom. Just when you just take me robe and take me cap and you figure out, well, how did they see him? And he just kind of that's a bit of a throwaway bit, but that works again so well. And it's like, don't be seen. And it's just like, Ransom, are you back again already? But it's because of the age of the character, the confusion of the character, the way the character's already been set up. They don't know how old she is. You don't know what's going on. And then it comes full circle with, how's she going to get out of this? How's this actually going to work when she can't lie? Yeah. And it's just tell the fragments. And we've seen everything. And they are the perfect fragments of how to tell that story without implicating yourself into anything. Honestly, it's just like lying in a lazy river. Just on a thing. It's just like, I'm just having so much fun. This is just great. When this is over, I'll probably just do it again. This is nice. And you just feel like you're just so well guided through it, where you're not getting agitated, where you don't necessarily want to know the answers because there's so many questions. And it's like you said at the top, Luke, I think it's a perfect word for it. I think this moment, this whole montage is just delicious.
It is. It really is. It gives it loads of different layers because in a previous flashback, Detective Elliot says that he checked his time, it's 12 o'clock. And the viewer, you're thinking, that's a little convenience. It's bang on 12 o'clock. How could he remember the time? But then we find out in this flashback that Marta brings attention to the time.
Yes.
It's great.
Midnight already. And then he looks again. It's like it's reinforced for the audience as well. It's
exactly.
Good. Yeah.
Obviously, this moment, Harlan is on the road out because Marta's mixed up his medicine and gave him an overdose of morphine. At least that's what she thinks. But allegedly, morphine acts very quickly, and Harlan would not have lasted as long as he did with the amount he was given. Right. So there's a clue to the fact that he was given the right medication by Marta.
Yes.
It just had the wrong label on it.
Yeah.
And I guess in her panic, she hasn't realised that.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
No,
I mean,
totally
it's too late anyway. When she goes in, his mind's made up. So there's nothing she could do to change that anyway.
Great. So Marta's got blood in her hands, and considering her reaction to telling lies, it's only a matter of time before the game is up.
Yeah.
The director.
A first outing for Rian Johnson on all the right movies. He'd been sharpening his blades behind the camera for almost 15 years before getting to Knives Out. Our thoughts on his work here as director will get to him as a writer later on. And I think that on top of everything else that Johnson is spinning, a compelling narrative, great characters, classic mystery, honouring the genre, he keeps us thoroughly entertained with what is going on in the frame, specifically his use of depth.
Yeah.
He's given us texture, details, and tone with just his backgrounds. If you take that Thrombey house, it's not just a set, we've said it, it's a character. Every room stuffed with clues, red herrings, portraits, knickknacks, books, weapons on the wall. And Johnson stages his actors at different distances from the camera, so your eye is constantly being drawn deeper and deeper into the frame. There's always something happening behind the person talking, a family member lurking in a doorway, or a reaction shot that tells you more than the dialogue does. And it rewards multiple viewings because you're catching things in the background that you just missed first time around.
100%.
And I think that's a real skill because it's doing two jobs at once. On the surface, it's building this rich, lived-in world where every object feels like it has a story behind it. But underneath that, it's planting information. Johnson is hiding things in plain sight and trusting that the audience is smart enough to find them. That depth of frame isn't just there for pretty compositions. It's storytelling as well, visual storytelling at its best.
Yeah.
Yeah, so regarding having depth in the frame and things going on in the background, Johnson referenced the works of Michael Curtiz and Old Hollywood and said, it's much more interesting if you can have a frame where there are multiple things happening at once and orchestration and mise-en-scène and the whole shebang.
Yes, Curtiz directed Casablanca, The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
One of my favourite moments here is when Marta comes back to the family near the end and she wants to confess. She's got them all lined up and they're positioned like a family portrait. Some are sitting down, some are standing up. And it's like a duel. They're on one side, they've got their positions. And on the other side is Marta in the foreground with Blanc behind her and the portrait of Harlan to his left. Johnson's telling us visually who's on whose side here.
Yes, exactly.
That's incredible work. Which I think just could easily get lost under everything else going on because it's so multi-layered.
Yeah. I think the reason this works is because he understands cinema and he understands the language of cinema and he understands the narrative of it. I mean, if you think about how much, balance this up between how much the writing plays towards how much the camera work plays and how much you see in the frame and how much dialogue is exposition and how much is explaining what's happening, or are we seeing what's happening being explained? So I think most of it is visual in the revelation of what's happening. We see more than we hear about, and I think that's really important, and he's really got a grasp on that. And the use of all of these influences is just the tone and the feel of this. And I think to create something like this is incredibly, incredibly difficult, because just going off that montage, when Harlan tells Marta how to get away with it, if those shots don't match later on in the film, you are fucked. You are done for. If you've done a cut from her walking down the stairs to turning around at the same point of when he speaks, and then you go to his point of view earlier on, if you don't match in your head, you're done for. And that's why films like this aren't 10 a penny. That's why they don't come around as often as they do, because to pull this off is incredibly difficult, because everything needs to be in sync. Everyone needs to be firing on all cylinders, and everyone needs to be so into what's going on. Every single person on this film needs to be firing on all cylinders. And Rian Johnson brings that energy. You can see he's got that energy, and this needs to be done from a director. That's incredibly rare and incredibly refreshing. And not only has he done it this time, he's done it twice after this to the same degree of level of attention to detail. It's just a big shout to Hollywood and the state of it right now. Like, find somebody who really, really appreciates where all this came from. Make it a little bit more modern and a little bit more for an audience that are just going to dive into it with a little bit more modern themes. But if you move away from classic cinema, you're going to pay the price. If you stay the course like he has, you're going to make millions, which is what he did. And that's his influence as a director.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
talking about his influence and talking about classic cinema, so that he didn't shoehorn himself down a particular path with one piece of work as inspiration. He said that he put himself in a general mindset of murder mystery, which gave him a blurred vision.
Right.
However, there are a number of influences at play for Johnson in Knives Out. Specifically, and unsurprisingly, the work of the Grand Master of Murder Mystery, Agatha Christie, a writer whom he grew up reading, and his love for the genre grew from there.
Yeah, well, of course. Why wouldn't it?
Of course. Yeah, exactly.
And he later adored the Christie movie adaptations in the 70s and 80s with these huge ensemble casts and incredible locations. And he said, I said to my producer, we want an all-star cast. We want that old school, entertaining, we're putting on a big show type feel.
Yeah, it's Murder on the Orient Express and Evil Under the Sun, isn't it?
Yeah,
all
of
that Death kind of Trap thing. And all them films.
Yeah. Well, talking about those, Johnson tweeted photos of posters he had hanging up when he was editing Knives Out in January 2019. These were posters that served as inspiration for the film in one way or another.
Right.
And they were Evil Under the Sun, Gosford Park, Murder by Death, Death Trap, Clue, Death on the Nile, The Last of Sheila, Murder on the Orient Express, The Mirror Crack, The Private Eyes, and finally, Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Obviously the most influential. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
And one film missing from that rogues gallery is Sleuth, the Laurence Olivier and Michael Caine, as mentioned earlier. Outside of Agatha Christie, it was Johnson's biggest inspiration for Knives Out.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it.
And there are nods to it all over this film, specifically all the little figurines and characters strewn about the house. There were shots of them in the opening scene, including a sailor that looks just like Jolly Jack Tar from Sleuth.
It is Jolly Jack Tar from Sleuth. It looks like him. It's the same thing. They found him when he found the doll's house, surely.
Yeah, must have. And the barbecue.
And the same skip.
I think he just brings so much attention to detail throughout all of this. The plot, the various character motives and alibis, everything makes sense and is watertight. But Johnson, he's also playing fairly with the audience. There's no great revelation that he springs out of nowhere. Everything is set up. Everything is in plain sight. And fair enough, you'd have to be very clever to pick some of them up. I mean, the fact that the dogs don't bark at murder, but they do bark at ransom is a huge clue because obviously someone hears the dogs barking in the middle of the night. But all the same, it is there if you're paying attention. If you think about it, he points out the blood spot on Marta's shoe well before it becomes important. And he threads it together with such a neatness that you don't feel foolish for not working it out yourself. You just feel like you've been treated like an adult watching this, and he's got such a real patience here. He doesn't rush anything. He doesn't spell anything out overtly, and he trusts the audience. And as much as he's upending expectations, so there's actually not a murder to solve at first, it's a suicide, but then actually no, it's a tragic accident. So where do we go from there? But it's done with such a confidence. It's like every 10 minutes, he lays out a fresh piece of evidence or a new twist or a new revelation that takes you somewhere else. And it's like he's dangling the resolution in front of the audience, but just keeps pulling it away until he lets you catch up at the end. And as much as he interlaces the film with humour, he never lets it become a spoof either, which it easily could be. This could just be silly.
It could be, yes. It could be Clue.
Yeah, it could be Clue. It could be one step away from the Naked Gun. And it's not.
Yeah.
He knows when to let scenes play out with a comic twist, but he knows when to pull back on that as well. So it's almost like the ultimate compliment I can pay a director. This is so incredibly complicated put together, but he just makes it look so easy.
He does.
Yeah.
It's effortless, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just them influences, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just pulling them left, right, and centre and just making complete sense of them. Just like you said, even that little bit about the dogs.
Yeah.
It comes from Sherlock Holmes, The Silver Blaze,
right,
where he finds out like the bad guy through the silence of the dog because it knows him. So it's like just taking that little element and just sprinkling that all the way through. Just fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And the initial concept for Knives Out came to Rian Johnson after he finished his directorial debut, Brick, in 2005. He had planned to revisit the idea after the release of sci-fi film Looper in 2012, and he even mentioned it in a 2010 interview with The Independent that he would like to write and direct an Agatha Christie-style murder mystery next.
Yeah. What took you so long?
Yeah, exactly. But but Looper brought Johnson more critical success, and with that came an offer to direct the second part of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, The Last Jedi. And how could he pass up on an opportunity like that? So,
well, that's true enough.
Yeah. It was only after that wrapped he could focus on his murder mystery idea.
Yeah. And once Daniel Craig was signed onto the project by the director whose last film made over $1 billion, it wasn't difficult to get finance. And we'll get to Craig later on.
Yeah.
The script was sent around to generate a buzz going into the Toronto Film Festival market, but even before Johnson and his team set off for Canada, MRC stumped up the 40 million needed, with Lionsgate coming on board to distribute as well. I mean, it's incredible writing, and not surprised it got snapped up immediately.
No. And while there are comedic elements in the film, Johnson went to great lengths to highlight that Knives Out is not a parody of murder mystery films in the way that others are, like Clue or Murder by Death.
It honours the tradition, doesn't it? But it clearly has got a love for the genre. And I think it's fair to say now it's in the great lineage of murder mystery films.
Oh, definitely is. Yeah.
So bringing up Sleuth again, and that was a major reference point for the set decorators and production designers when building the world of Harlan Thrombey inside the mansion, as we've been discussing. I mean, it has to be, doesn't it?
Yes, of course it is, yeah. The Thrombey house was shot in 3 different locations. The main one was the Ames Mansion in Borderland State Park, Massachusetts.
Nice.
Production designer David Crank said when you walked in, it had character because nobody had wiped it clean and modernised it. It had been with the same family for a few generations.
Brilliant. Right. Imagine they just went in and started cleaning it and like Rian Johnson said, "What the fuck are you doing?" They used the first floor of the house only. The upper floors were constructed on set because the hallways didn't accommodate the shoot, but they were all based on the style of the Ames Mansion.
And the library, along with the exteriors, they were shot in another mansion in Massachusetts because there were 3 different locations. The placement of the rooms upstairs did make actual physical sense considering the space downstairs.
Yeah, it's the overlook, isn't it?
It's the overlook.
It's exactly that. Yeah. One of Crank's favourite rooms to construct was Harlan's study, which was also shot on a stage. Set decorator, as we mentioned, David Schlesinger's crew created these weird dioramas of murder scenes. I think you mentioned earlier, Westy. They serve to reinforce the notion that the film is a visual representation of Harlan's mind. It's just full of detail.
Yeah. And the house acted as a hub for the actors, with everyone bonding there, making for a happy working environment. They actually spent so much time in the house that producer Ram Bergman said that they actually wasted a lot of money on trailers for the actors, which were barely used.
Yeah, great.
So a director completely at home with the material, making it sing on screen. He's got many years ahead of him, but Rian Johnson probably will struggle to top Knives Out.
I think so, yeah.
The cast.
An incredible cast of Knives Out. We'll be talking about the support as we go, but here we're talking about CSI KFC, the black sheep of the Thrombey family, but first, Harlan's nurse from Uruguay, Ana de Armas as Marta Cabrera. Over to you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the really interesting things about all 3 of these films is Blanc is kind of the protagonist, the main character, but he also isn't in a lot of ways. We don't really find out anything about him. And I love the fact that we don't get the cliched bit where we find out like his mother was murdered, but they never found the killer, and that's what inspired him. Like, you don't need that. So instead, what you do is you shift that focus onto someone else in all 3 of these films, and it works so well with Marta because de Armas is just so incredibly likable. She's just got this real innocence and generosity of spirit, which contrasts so effectively to all the conniving that's going on from the Thrombeys, all the greed that fuels everything they do, and all she wants to do is be a good person and do a good job. Yeah. That's why it's such a great twist that she thinks she's responsible for Harlan's death. And it does look like she is, albeit accidentally. Because how does she get out of that? And her performance is so good because you can see the guilt just weighing so heavily on her. And it puts us as an audience in a quandary because we think she is responsible, but at the same time, we wanted to get away with it. Absolutely. So how is that going to resolve itself? And because she's so likable, you're just completely on her side. And even the vomiting thing is really clever because it's not just a cheap gag. It actually puts her in a real bind because she can't lie about what's really been going on.
She's backed into a corner.
She's backed into a corner, which gives it this tension, and it makes her such a fascinating character to have in this situation. And the last thing I want to mention, the kind of last cliche it avoids. Obviously, by the time you get a glass onion, we find out a bit more about Blanc's personal life and his sexuality. But just going on this alone, if you didn't know that, I'm just really glad they avoided the cliche of Marta and Blanc like having a romance or having a fling.
DMA.
Because honestly, going into it, I thought it's going to go there, isn't it? Because you got, Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas, they're going to get together, and I'm so glad they didn't go there.
Yeah, I'm so glad they didn't. That would have been rubbish.
It would have been.
Just the lack of romance in this whole film so refreshing to see.
It really
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
I just think Ana de Armas is just a breath of fresh air. She's a beautiful counterpoint to the Thrombey family and their kind of like, as you've mentioned, Westy, their white privilege, their harshness, their spikiness, their utter contempt for everybody else. And Ana de Armas has just got so much vulnerability, but also like resolve and strength of character.
Yeah.
She's great.
You know, there's no element of her performance where you think she doesn't deserve what she gets.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Yeah.
Johnson was looking for a little-known actor in the part of Marta to display vulnerability and obviously the underdog quality. It was casting director Mary Verneau who brought de Armas to Johnson's attention.
And Rian Johnson had seen her in Blade Runner 2049, but that's about it. Initially, he thought she was too pretty to play Marta convincingly, but changed his mind when she came in to read. How did you change your mind when you saw her in the flesh? She was just not too. I would have made it even worse for me. Oh, there she is. That's ludicrous.
Johnson said she's got that Audrey Hepburn type thing. Some actors have that magical quality where you feel like their eyes are just windows right into their souls, and that's what Anna's got.
Yeah,
she's got that all right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
But de Armas's initial impulse was to actually turn the role down. She wasn't interested in playing Latin-specific roles, but after reading the full script, she was just drawn to Marta's strength of character instead.
Yeah, she was only given like kind of like a brief outline of the script at first, and it said like 3 words like young, pretty.
Right.
And she said, I'm not interested in doing any kind of Latin-specific roles. And then when she got the full script, she realised.
Yeah. There's a lot more to it than just 3 words.
It's a lot more subtle than she probably thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
She also liked the idea of Marta's regurgitate reaction to untruths. She said, I'm a master at gulping and making sounds now.
Yeah. So she may not have been well known in 2019, but that all changed with Knives Out. Ana de Armas bringing warmth, vulnerability, and resolve to the screen as Marta Cabrera. Next up, an outrageous turn from James Bond at the time of release, Daniel Craig, with his foghorn leghorn southern drawl as Benoit Blanc. Westy, over to you.
He's great, isn't he? I mean, he's having so much fun.
Yeah.
And I just love, Matt touched on it before, the introduction to this character is so brilliant because it's his introduction in nearly every film before this. It's like his introduction as Bond, his introduction in Road to Perdition. It's just this low angle, sat on the chair, just like, who is this guy cloaked in darkness? And it's just a real parody of all of his parts that he's played before. But he brings such a lightness of touch here. Such this lack of machismo, like I said before. There's no masculinity to the part without it being overtly effeminate, but he's just very understanding and very emotional.
Yes.
But you don't expect this guy to have a fist fight.
No.
You don't expect him to be caught in the middle of something. Like there's a barroom brawl and it's all right because Blank's there and he can take care of everything. You'd see him just leaving. He would just leave. You just I've had enough. And like, even in a car chase, he's just trying to phone her to calm everything down, hanging out the window. He's just like, will you answer the phone? It's just brilliant. I love the way it takes all of your expectations and just slams them on the head. Like he's being James Bond, for Christ's sake. Yeah. He's almost finished being James Bond at this point. And I think he's just taken all of that bravado, all of that build-up, and he's just went, how can I subvert this completely into a Peter Sellers kind of role where people are going to take it seriously, and it's not slapstick. But his confusion is so palpable because he's leading the film. So when he's confused, we're really confused. But he's confused on purpose because he's just manipulating everybody. Of all people, I would never have thought Daniel Craig would have brought that.
No, I wouldn't have.
And I think this is Daniel Craig's way of going, right, I've got a new character, I've got a new way of looking at it. It's completely subverting the James Bond trope, and I'm going to go for it. And he absolutely dives in head first. But the beautiful thing about his performance is that everybody else is diving in head first with him. You can see that. And they're all going at the same pace. And it's just a wonderful thing to see. What an invention of a character and what a reinvention of a career.
Yeah, nice.
In the middle of being James Bond, the fact that he's able to bring something more memorable to the screen in Benoit Blanc, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, I'd agree. Feels really free, doesn't he? Doing
exactly.
The shackles are off.
Yeah.
It's a real freeness and a playfulness to the character.
Yeah.
I really love that one-sided interaction between Blanc and Great Nana.
Yeah.
He's able to make that absolutely compelling. She's not saying a word.
Yeah.
The
warmth of his character, he knows that she knows something. And he's trying to draw it out of her. I love that.
And he's just talking about being tired all the time. They're all trying to get them more tired. I'm like, it's fantastic. The way that's lit as well, it's so nicely done.
Oh, it is.
Really elegant. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And Johnson conceived of Blanc as an American prowess, And it seems fitting now we've got an Englishman playing an American, because there was generally an Englishman playing the Belgian prowler in movies with actors like Albert Finney, Peter Ustinov and David Suchet on TV taking the role.
That's right, yeah, great. Johnson had Craig in mind for the role from the start. He liked the fact that it subverted his Bond persona, which it absolutely does.
Yep.
And he knew that he had the range to play comedic after seeing him on stage and in Soderbergh's Logan Lucky, obviously.
Yes,
right.
right.
He's very funny in that. Yeah.
He is, yeah, great.
Johnson said that Craig relished the idea of Blanc. I could tell how much fun he was going to have. He looked like he was a little kid eyeing a Christmas present. Definitely.
Wonderful.
But he almost didn't get his man. Craig couldn't commit to Knives Out because of his obligation to No Time to Die. But when production was delayed on that, Craig jumped at the chance to fill Benoit's shoes as long as it started filming in 6 weeks' time.
Right.
Yeah.
So because of the tight turnaround, Johnson cut short a holiday with his wife to get the ball rolling straight away.
Right.
Nice.
Fair enough.
I'm sure she was over the moon with that. But you see the final bit, though. It's like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And with Craig's star power, the rest of the cast fell into place quite quickly. Johnson targeted actors who were available at short notice for a short period of time.
Johnson explained, if you're shooting sometime next year, everybody in the back of their head is thinking about keeping their options open in case a big Marvel movie comes up. But in this case, saying, can you show up in 4 weeks in Massachusetts and just have fun with us doing this murder mystery?
Yeah, he thought that was just a lot more appealing than saying, put this in your diary for like 12 months' time.
Right.
Yeah.
Johnson said that he was able to ground the film in reality because of the cast, who were given big performances without disconnecting from reality and making the film a parody.
Yeah.
And with the large ensemble cast, Johnson said filming was so much fun that it became like summer camp. With the size of the cast, managing people was just as important as actually making the film. He said, if you cast generous actors and actresses that seem like good people, it'll make the set life better.
Yeah.
But because of the large cast, Johnson named a lot of them after musicians he loved, just to keep track of them.
Right.
So Linda and Richard were named after Linda and Richard Thompson. Walt and Donna were named after Walter Becker and Donald Fagen from Steely Dan.
Right. Lovely.
Joni was Joni Mitchell, and her late departed husband Neil was Neil Young.
Neil Young.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Benoit Blanc is obviously distinctive because of his accents.
Yeah.
In the original script for the film, the character is described as having a subtle southern accent.
Yeah, right.
Not sure it ended up that way.
No, cross that word out.
Yeah. That's because when doing research, Daniel Craig came across writer and historian Shelby Foote and based his accent largely on his.
Yeah.
And if you've heard Foot talking, you know that Craig has certainly taken the animated southern drawl up quite a few notches. There were a few other sources of inspiration which may account for the slightly exaggerated accent. Craig has said that there's a little Tennessee Williams thrown in there alongside Monsieur Hulot from the Jacques Tati films from the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
Nice. There's also influence of Christopher Guest's Harlem Pepper in Best in Show.
Right.
Goodbye with Cary Grant flair for the spoken word in To Catch a Thief.
Yes.
Yeah, Craig worked with a dialect coach for authenticity. Fantastic.
Yeah. It's larger than life, but I'm certain that it's authentic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Don't doubt it for a second.
And as we're on Benoit Blanc, we've got our second Patreon question. This one comes from Jasmine Christiansen. Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine.
She says, I'm so excited you guys are doing this movie. I love all the Knives Out movies. My question is, what mystery or thriller would you insert Benoit Blanc in, and how fast would he solve the crime?
Okay.
Sending well wishes all the way from Alaska.
Oh, lovely.
Wow.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I like
Nice.
this kind of placement of people.
Yeah, tell us where you're from.
Yeah, tell us where you're from. That'd be great.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for the question, Jasmine. And firstly, I'm going to go with Clue.
Yeah.
We mentioned
Nice.
it already. Blanc in that mansion with Colonel Mustard, Mrs. White, and Wadsworth working together.
Yeah.
He'd love it. I think he'd solve all three different endings at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he would.
And second, I'm going to go with Scream, Blanc in
Okay.
Woodsboro.
Right. Yeah.
Picking
great.
apart the slasher movie references. I think he'd be on Stu and Billy's ass halfway through the second act. He'd love it.
Yes.
And finally, forget Freddy and Jason. This would be the crossover event to end them all. Murder on the Orient Express. Poirot versus Blanc on the same train.
Yeah.
The same case.
Amazing.
Two legendary detectives going at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Blanc would know immediately, but he would let it play out to the end because he's just having too much fun.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What about you, Matt?
I've got two. First one is Murder by Death, which I think
All right.
Nice.
Great.
that guy getting all those authors around the dinner table, you can't solve this murder, and it looks like an impossible murder to solve. Blanc would get that done in 5 minutes, and then he'd be ready for dinner. That'd be absolutely fine. And then the second one, in the heat of the night, obviously being a Southern gentleman himself, he wouldn't get anywhere near the issues that Sidney Poitier has in that trying to solve that murder. So again, heat of the night, he'd solve that one very, very quickly.
Nice.
Fantastic film as well.
It's a great film. Love it.
Yeah.
What about you, Westy?
Some that actually needed solving a little bit quicker for me without the pain at the end.
Right.
First one, put him in 7. He replaced both of them. Just going through each of the murder scenes. He can have some of the dialogue. Imagine him going, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a homicide. That would be amazing. Gluttony. And just,
gluttony.
Oh, gluttony.
That's great.
My goodness.
Doesn't make him Yoda.
Just because a boy has a lad record does not make him Yoda. That would just be absolutely wonderful.
He's fucking with us. That's what he's doing.
We see, we could do this all day. We could do this all day.
Every line you write, it's amazing.
It's
It
brilliant.
would be, put him in 7.
Fucking Dante.
Oh, fucking Dante.
Marquis de Sade.
I don't know how we'd do the ending, but it'd be amazing if Mills Doe has the upper hand.
It's blood.
It's good. He'd spot that straight away. It would just be on his shoe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my first one. My second one is just because it's such a brilliant film, and please, guys, if you haven't seen this, please check it out. But Sean Penn directed, Jack Nicholson starring, The Pledge.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That film is incredible, but put Blanc in there and it's solved. It's done. You don't have that ending. Amazing. Yeah. And then one for Jasmine, especially being from Alaska, I would say Insomnia. The Chris Nolan film.
Oh, yeah, lovely.
Yeah,
nice.
I would like that to be solved a little bit easier. I don't want him to shoot a dead dog.
No.
Yeah. This might work with your mama.
Oh God, let's just scrap the rest of this and let's just do Blanc in different films. Yeah, that would be great. That.
Lovely. Thank you very much for the question, Jasmine.
Yeah, thanks.
BLANC, fuck off.
He was found here with garbage bags.
Wrapped in garbage bags.
That's great.
Little things, remember?
Wonderful. And that brings us to the end of our conversation on Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc.
Unfortunately.
Sadly, yeah.
Showing wonderful range and a great sense of humour in a now iconic role.
Yes.
Finally, the antagonist in the story, the entitled, delightfully chunky knit sweater-clad Hugh Ransom Drysdale, played by Chris Evans.
Asshole.
I want to talk about this performance because I think I said a while back on one of our shows, I can't remember which one it was, that the current crop of actors being run through the Hollywood meat grinder, and for the most part, they're all called Chris, are all indistinguishable from each other from my point of view.
Yeah.
They just seem a little bit bland. They seem to lack a little bit of personality. But I think Evans stands above the pack, and that's certainly true here. Because in the 8 years prior to Knives Out, he'd appeared in 11 Marvel films.
Yeah.
11. That's a lot of stars and stripes.
It is. Yeah.
And doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So to see him turn up here as this absolute nightmare of a human being is a real breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And he doesn't come into the second act either, so he's got a lot of catching up to do. But boy, oh boy, he does just that. He creates that shitstorm before the will reading. Eating biscuits and lounging around like he owns the joint.
Yeah.
It's a grand entrance, and although he is an entitled prick, there's something undeniably satisfying about watching him stick it to every single member of his family.
Yeah.
Because they're all terrible people. Evans pulls that superior, entitled attitude off really well. I think Ransom has the safety net of wealth, so he can just be an arsehole to anyone and everyone because you know what they're going to do about it.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Evans plays that with such ease that you'd think he'd be doing this kind of role his entire career. I don't think he's ever done anything like this up until this point.
No.
I think there's a swagger to it. You know, he's got the sweater, which set tongues wagging. The way he carries himself, he looks like he's having the time of his life. And that energy that he's got is infectious. He looks great as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about Craig as Blanc is it subverts the James Bond trope, but this subverts the Captain America trope.
100% it does.
Yeah, so I can get away with anything because I'm Captain America.
Exactly.
Eat shit. You know, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant casting.
And I think that's what I find so impressive about this performance. After over a decade of playing the most virtuous, morally upstanding character in cinema, Evans flips it entirely and makes you love him for being the worst person in the room.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a lot of charisma to pull that off.
Yeah.
And it proves that there's more to Chris Evans than just that shield and that good guy nature.
Yeah, definitely.
And Ransom is named after the main character Elwyn Ransom in C.S. Lewis's The Space Trilogy, also known as the Ransom Trilogy. Johnson was a big fan of the series as a kid and said, I've always just thought that was a weird, cool name, and I was happy I was able to steal that.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I thought it was after the Mel Gibson film. Give me back my son! Johnson was well aware of Evans' clean-cut superhero persona, but knew that he could play against type, having seen him on stage in 2018 in Kenneth Lonergan's Lobby Hero. Played the character of Bill in that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Johnson said you've got to see it not as baggage, but as ammunition. If there was somebody in that part who the audience inherently wanted to like, that would help the arc overall.
Yeah,
it works a treat.
It
does.
Yeah. And he was persuaded to come on board because of convenience and proximity. Having wrapped on Avengers Endgame, he was planning some recuperation time at home in Massachusetts. But then they said, well, it films in Boston. And I said, I just can't say no to this.
Yeah, it's like what we said before. Johnson saying, can you come and do this fun, quirky movie for 6 weeks in Massachusetts? And in the proximity and people's availability is what he played upon.
Mm-hmm. When giving away some of the trade secrets in Hollywood, Johnson let slip a key detail for you to keep an eye open for in any film. Apple allowed characters to have iPhones in movies, but not the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. You'll notice that Ransom is an Android guy in this film.
Right.
You know, okay. Samsung, Google, they obviously root for the bad guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they don't mind.
After revealing this detail, Johnson said, every single filmmaker who has a bad guy in their movie that's supposed to be a secret wants to murder me right now. Great. I love that little detail.
It's great.
Yeah.
So an incredible cast where at least 8 of them deserve a mention in this segment.
Yeah.
Yep.
But with de Armas, Craig and Evans, the film has 3 outstanding actors, all given very different performances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Right Movies will be right back. Thank you for supporting us by listening to the sponsors for this episode. Thank you for listening to our sponsors, and now it's back to the show.
The middle.
In the second act of the film, something is afoot, and Blanc recruits Marta to be his confidant. Poor Marta here. I mean, she's been through the ringer today. She's been the subject of some casual racism. She's just had a panic attack. And now things are ramped up because she cannot shake Benoit Blanc, who's beautifully revealed in the shadows of the garden when he lights up the cigar.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He observes the facts without biases of heart or head. Lovely dialogue.
Yeah, great.
And he's making his plans to start his investigation tomorrow and wants Marta by his side because he trusts her kind heart and the fact that she had nothing to gain from Harlan's murder. He's smarter than the average bear because by the end, with his reveal to Marta, we've already discussed it, he's known all along.
Yeah.
And he's been manipulating everybody. As harsh as it sounds, he has been manipulating everybody, including Marta.
He's like Darren Brown.
So the truth will out eventually because Marta is a good person and she's bound to crack. And she does get there. So she goes back to her home, her head spinning with all this guilt and confusion. As far as she knows, she did kill Harlan. And de Armas plays that wonderfully. How on earth did she get herself into this situation? When she sat down, she's looking at the TV. The TV, incidentally, is an episode of Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
It's dubbed in Spanish. It's called Who Threw the Barber Towels in Mrs. Fletcher's Chowder. It's about a dinner party where somebody is murdered. Aren't they all?
Amazing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Sounds class.
Great. And then we flash back to the grisly details of Harlan's final moments. Marta's tears and fears are real. Harlan's affection for her is genuine. But when she went back in that room, did he really have to slit his throat in front of her? That image will stay with her for the rest of her life. It's horrific.
Very cruel.
Yeah.
But I guess the reason that he had to do this is because Marta would have stopped him otherwise.
Yeah.
Because she was just about to go in. And it gives us that delicious plot point, the close-up of the blood splatter on Marta's sneakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been caught red-footed, but she's been strong for her mother. That's a detail that's captured without any dialogue when it comes back from the flashback and she holds her mother's hand.
Yeah.
Because she knows what's at stake here. Without any dialogue, that's really good.
Yeah. It doesn't take her coat off and get comfortable either.
No.
Like she could be removed from the scene at any point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so straight after that, she's going to have to try and cover our tracks in more ways than one.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
But yeah, I mean, it's great when we go in there and, you know, we have this really great setup and we've got all the modern technology, as he stated, which is just so funny because it's just VHS tapes. It's absolutely shit.
Top loader as well.
Yeah, top loader.
Probably one of the earliest models.
VHS and just eats tapes like popcorn. But I kept this one, you know, I've kept this one. It's great performances all around. But it's just the way that this is all building now towards we're thinking, how's she going to get away with this? Because Blanc's now trying to entrap her, saying that he wants her involved. Other which she takes control and fast forwarding the tape and then ejects it, and you see that the tape's smoking, and Blanc's like turns his back on us if he knows that she's trying to manipulate it somehow, and he's distracting Elliot and the other guy and just trying to talk to them. Can we get this digitized properly somehow? He's like helping her get away with it. And they're walking through and she's got the magnet and she's rubbing it against the tape, which is obviously going to erase it. I was going to cause trouble with the VHS tape, which is lovely. Puts that magnet in her pocket. But I just, even before that, when they see it on the screen and there's that little bit of dialogue where he's like, it looks like a Japanese horror movie. Absolutely love that.
Are we all going to die in 7 days?
Yeah. There's a little nod to the ring there. I really love that. That was really, really good. And there's just that real great back and forth between Blanc, like looking stupid, but also being very intelligent with and taking note of everything around him, everything that's going on. Because from this point, we know that there's tracks there. He's probably already seen them. He's distracting the other two guys while she walks ahead. He lets her do it.
Yeah. Yes.
And then goes, has it rained? And it's, wait, stop. This is really important. And waits at that point when Marta's gone too far. Marta. And then he's actually not like necessarily shouting, but she plays that so well. So as an audience, we don't know that back and forth yet.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So they're supporting each other as she's coming back over the tracks and he's letting her do it. If he'd suspected her, she would just be in jail by now. She was like the murderer. That would be done. He's just trying to solve it.
So many levels here in this scene.
And he's trying to solve it with that, and he's letting her do it because by her doing this, he's going to find out what really happened.
Yes.
And he knows that there's something else going on with it. From the final moment of covering the tracks, then the dogs run in, distort the tracks yet again, but it's their relationship to Marta that then Blanc looks down and goes, the best judge of character is a dog.
Yeah.
And he's trying to piece it together. We think we know what's happened, but we don't.
No.
It's just another great couple of layers in the middle of a film that shouldn't be this brilliant, but it really is.
Yeah, it really is. It's absolutely fantastic. So many layers.
So the role of Mr. Prufrock, the security guard, Johnson wanted actor and magician Ricky Jay. Unfortunately, Jay died just before filming was about to start, so you got the great Emmett Walsh, who's fantastic in that.
He's
absolutely
fantastic
great performance. So he took his place.
Yeah.
And if you actually look in this scene, when Walsh puts that picture of the house up with the magnet, there's a little picture of Ricky Jay just on the right-hand side.
Yes, there is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just a little homage.
Brilliant.
Very,
Great
very
little
nice.
detail.
Yeah.
Really nice touch, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Walsh said Ricky Jay was going to do it, and he went and died. Then they had to come and get somebody that wasn't as good, so they got me. I'm brought in because they can't get who they want. That's normally the way I get hired. I work cheap, must be.
Bless him.
Lovely.
But he's brilliant. He's
great.
always brilliant.
After Walsh died in 2024, Rian Johnson tweeted, Emmett came to set with two things: a copy of his credits, which was a small type, single-spaced, double-column list of modern classics that filled a whole page.
Would be, yeah.
Brilliant, yeah.
And $2 bills, which he passed out to the entire crew, saying, don't spend it and you'll never be broke. What an absolute legend.
What a guy.
Yeah,
That's
brilliant.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then after this, we've been talking about him. We've seen him briefly already, but this is
Here
our
he
first
comes.
proper introduction to Ransom. I mean, Chris Evans having the time of his life here, as we've been saying. He's not Captain America, and he's overjoyed about that for once.
Yeah.
And he just devours the scene, and it's incredible how much chaos Ransom causes when he doesn't actually say it or do that much to cause it. He just has to show up. I mean,
Just sits in the middle
just
of
sits in
everybody.
and it explodes. I mean, he turns up. The dogs don't like him. There's clue number one. He tells the cops only the help call him Hugh. There's clue number two, which you're going to have to remember. But you brush that off. And then he's into the house and he listens to all of 2 words from Blanc and he just comes out with CSI KFC. And then he's off and he just saunters into that room, orders Fran around, insults Meg, just in that chair with his cookies like he's Lord of the Manor. And Michael Shannon in this scene. He
is
is
great.
He's magnificent.
amazing. He's Walt clearly fuming at Ransom for not being at the funeral.
Hates him.
Hates
him. Full
his
stop.
guts.
Yeah.
But then Ransom rings up Jacob. That makes it kick off between Meg and Jacob, alt-right troll, liberal snowflake, and that cut back to Walt. I don't know what any of that means. Like, he's so confused. He doesn't understand his son at all. And then Richard dives in, just has a pop out of nowhere, joylessly masturbating to pictures of dead deer about Jacob. So that ends up with he and Walt actually getting into a proper scrap with each other. And this is just the funniest thing Ransom's ever seen in his life. He's just kicking back, enjoying his cookies. He's barely said a word, and he's caused all this, and he's having a whale of a time. You know, we got to do this more often. And then even when it's revealed he's been cut out the will, so you know Walter's like yes,
I love that
finally
bit,
and then he's in his face rejoicing, and Ransom is just like wow, like he just doesn't care. And then it all kicks off again, and it's clear like by this point he's had enough for the rest of the family, ticking them off one by one. The bit I mentioned right at the top, eat it, definitely eat it. Just amazing. This scene, so funny.
It's great.
Johnson was able to get the reaction from the dogs when Ransom shows up by giving Chris Evans 2 toy balls. The dogs were leashed by their trainers off screen, and Evans showed the dogs that he had the balls before the camera started rolling to get the reaction.
Yeah, they went wild. They loved it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Similar thing, the opening shot of the dogs running towards the camera was achieved by them getting them to run from one dog trainer to the other in front of the camera and behind.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And Johnson wanted Ransom to eat milk and cookies in his introduction scene to make him seem juvenile. And Evans ate so many biscuits for that scene, he said his mouth felt like it was coated in butter.
Nice.
We've mentioned Rian Johnson, last film was The Last Jedi. It polarised its fervent Star Wars fan base, and there was a lot of backlash, which was widely documented on social media. And he used this as inspiration for the character of Jacob Thrombey.
Right.
In this scene, the boy is literally a Nazi.
Yeah.
He's always on his phone, described as politically active by his dad. Basically, he's a troll on Twitter, and that's exactly what Rian Johnson's poking fun at here.
Yeah. And the original script for Knives Out was actually littered with F-bombs, but Rian Johnson had an 11th hour change of heart and softened the language to make it PG-13. And he'd reminded himself of the reason he was drawn to the genre in the first place, which is those family-friendly Agatha Christie whodunits that just don't have any blue language in them.
Yeah, I mean, he literally went through the screenplay and just struck all the F-bombs out.
Yeah.
In this scene where Ransom tells everybody to eat shit, he was supposed to tell them all, fuck you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So is Richards the only one that survived? The one right at the start?
That's right, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's why it's so funny.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And the actors stuck to the script pretty much to the word, but there were a few off-script moments that happened when the big cast got together. During the eat shit moment, when Blanc leaves the room, Michael Shannon improvised the line, "I'm not eating one iota of shit," which is so funny.
That is brilliant, yeah. He improvised that celebration when he finds out he's out of the will as well.
That's brilliant.
Just in the background.
Yeah, Shannon's amazing in this, man. He really is.
Yeah.
So with Ransom on the scene, everything is in chaos. The will reading should settle things down, though, surely.
Yeah, almost certainly.
In the upcoming sequence of events, Blanc finds some key evidence, and Linda asks Martha a very pertinent question. Was she boinking her father?
Yep.
Who knows? Matt, over to you.
Yeah, so it's all kicking off for the family. So Blanc and Marta leave them to it. Everything's spinning around now. We've already seen the dog with that piece of trellis already. Key piece of evidence in its mouth. Blanc throws the ball. The dog comes back with that. Classic draw. Works really well. But it's the tension for her character. Again, it's this element of everything is starting to fall into place for Blanc, but it's going to expose Marta, or so she thinks in the process. You know, this is part of the trellis, but it's a new break. So where does that come from? Is that a secret window? Let's go and have a look. It's classic whodunit stuff. But I have to mention, when they walk back into the house and that argument is still raging, I mean, to talk about Michael Shannon, when he is right in Ransom's face with that packet of cookies. How about some more cookies, you? You want some more cookies? I swear, I'm sure you can see Chris Evans just trying not to laugh because he's properly in his face. And I think Chris Evans is really struggling not to break character there. Yeah. Maybe Holland left you a cold glass of milk in as well, asshole. Brilliant stuff from Shannon.
Improvised line as well.
Yeah. But then we're back upstairs. Blanc finds the muddy footprints, and you can see the cogs whirring in his head. And as we say, it's only on retrospect you realise he kind of knows about Marta already. So this is just more manipulation of her. And there's that wonderful tension to it, because on one hand, you want to see Blanc get things right. it's really exciting to see him demonstrate his smarts, but at the same time, you don't want Martha exposed. So when he says the game is afoot, Watson, that expression on the face, I mean, we talk about the knitwear, but like she's wearing that scarf like it's a noose, like it's getting tighter around her neck.
Yeah, it's a great sequence. And it forms part of a really great little detail, a thread that runs through this entire film. It can often go overlooked. It's the invisible ink letter that Harlan writes to Linda, threatening Richard, you tell her or I will.
Yeah.
Once Harlan pops off, Richard breaks into the drawer in his desk and retrieves the letter, relieved that it is blank. But he then sets off a chain of events that incriminates him in Linda's eyes, something which gets beautifully paid off in the end scene.
Yeah.
Yes, the way that this all starts. Firstly, Richard throws the baseball out of the window. Then an unsuspecting blank walks past it, picks it up, puts it in his pocket as he's talking. Later, he throws the ball for the dog, who then brings it to Linda. She goes to Harlan's study to return the ball and finds the letter.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And the rest we don't see, but it winds up with Richard getting a black eye. So presumably Linda reads it and clocks Richard for cheating on her. And we can come to that conclusion because there's a scene earlier in the film where Linda is crying over Harlan's old letters to her, all of which have a burn mark on them, where she's obviously used the lighter to reveal the writing.
Yeah. And spoke about the games that they played and how that's how they used to communicate was a game.
Yeah.
Also, there are a few frames when Richard first retrieves the letter, showing some lettering on the paper when the sunlight catches it.
Right, lovely.
Yeah.
So now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of it. It's the actual will reading, and we're going to find out what all of this is about. Or are we really going to find out what all of this is about? Because it just gets more complicated from here, really. So it's wonderful to see Frank Oz in there.
Yeah.
Always wonderful. And
Unrecognisable,
he's
I
great.
thought.
He is unrecognisable and it's brilliant just sitting there. And everyone's got their own compositions, the way that they just stood as families, as units, as a couple. And that's you know,
love that.
That's who wants each of the part of this will. There's 3 separate parts to it. And then you've got that wonderful shot of Ransom in the background, and he's stacking the king on top of the chess pieces to show that obviously he's now going to be the king. He's now going to rule what's going on because he's got the upper hand on everybody. That lovely slow push in on him. Everyone else just stays on like a mirror wide just to see everybody in that frame. Jamie Lee Curtis is so good in this. It's just every little bit when it's just like, this isn't going to take very long. She's like, yes, great. I've got this. No problem. Yes, wonderful.
She's great.
Please continue. Yes, that's fine. Everyone is just so confident and just so cocky. The assistant at Alan, who's Frank Oz, is reading the will, she just points down, she's like, the house. And he's like, oh, yes, there's the house that's going to go. And there's 60 million. And yes, and then there's the 60 million. Yes. And then there's the ownership of Bloodlight Wine, which is a publishing company. Thank you. So he's just basically, that's the 3 things that we want to go on. It's all left to Marta, just one after the other, just knocks all the pins down, just one at a time. And the frustration.
It's a strike, isn't it?
And the pain that's a strike for everybody when they're getting let down one after the other. It's so well done. And then beautiful compositions, and it just slowly pushes in on Ransom, and he knows what's going on. And then there's that shot of Marta, because it pushes past Blanc and he doesn't know what's going on, and it goes on her, and she definitely doesn't have a clue what's happening here. But just look at the way the camera tells the story, and then it finally gets to the house. Everybody's arguing the toss, and it's like, it's still our house, you get out, whatever. And then to find out that the house is being left to Marta, that wide shot, which everybody's in, and then Lee Curtis turns around and goes, you bitch, and just points straight at the camera. It's like, that's the last straw, that's it. And just pointing at her, and you get out, and police get out, and everyone get out, and then she knows she's got no right here. And she, and as the character and as the performer, as the actress herself, as Jamie Lee Curtis was part of that house and made herself so integral, you can see that she's really connected to that.
Yes.
And when she flips, because she's self-made, she's made the business, she's the only one who stood on her own 2 feet, really. Yes. She had a bit of help off her dad, but she's got something to fall back on. She's got
the only one who doesn't face the wrath of her dad either.
Exactly, yeah. It cuts to outside. And that camera couldn't be any more loose. Yeah. It is just so handheld and just so
only time
trippy.
As well, isn't it?
It's the only time. Yeah. Lovely transitions between seeing Richard knock on the window and then the camera comes down and then see a wider view of Martin in the car trying to start it. And then we get Ransom coming in to save the day, and he just pulls in at the back and does the same gesture that Richard did to her earlier to beckon her in. And then have her as like manipulate her and say, well, you're from Paraguay, so you did it well. So it's the same that he's then taking that to manipulate her, but she doesn't know that. And then she's taken out of this whole mess. And you just think, Ransom's a good guy. He's taking her out of it. He needs to understand what's going on. And then we go into that next scene and we see, on his side? Is he on her side? Are these the guys we've got to root for now? And then we're straight into Act 3.
You mentioned there when she comes out of the house it goes from a steady cam to a handheld. Obviously, it puts us in Marta's headspace, but it was born out of necessity. Rian Johnson broke the steady cam, so they had to improvise.
Oh, amazing. Right. Well, yeah, that's
Great.
even better.
Yeah.
And when all the family are crowding Marta's car, Toni Collette improvised the line, "I'm not on Twitter anymore, DM me on Instagram." Great. And then when the cop as well, when they're talking to Marta outside, he's like, "Have you seen her Insta? She's an influencer."
Yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant. So it really hits home that she's got a presence, but not one that's been paid for by her, which is great. And that line also links into a deleted scene where Joni it's mentioned that she had to shut down a Twitter account due to negative comments about her skincare company, which again is even funnier because she's useless.
Yeah.
She's just an absolute lech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Toni Collette's just magnificent.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
Her backstory of the party when she's just dancing and everyone's ignoring her, just absolutely love that. Yeah. It's great.
Kind of echoes of Gwyneth Paltrow's skincare company. I would imagine that was her influence. I imagine that's why she started the company.
Yeah, very possibly, yeah.
And when everyone is going crazy and shouting at Marta, Jaden Martell's character Jacob calls her an anchor baby. This wasn't in the script and was an ad-lib by Martell. It wasn't picked up on the first take though, but Michael Shannon heard it and told Rian Johnson that Jaden had a really funny line. Johnson loved it, so they did another take to get it.
Yes.
Shannon dying to crowbar every bit of improv in there from everybody, including themselves. It's like trying to get Rian Johnson off script. Yeah. Come on, man, the script's not good enough. Anchor baby, come on.
Yeah, if you're unfamiliar, the term anchor baby means a child born into a country to illegal immigrant parents, allegedly for the reason of gaining citizenship to that country.
Yeah. Okay. It's really funny. It's just in the background as
It
well.
is,
The way he says it, it's like, it's without understanding. It's just
he's just heard the term.
He's heard it on Twitter.
Anchor baby.
Anchor baby. Anchor baby. Yeah.
So with all of our principles all together in this will reading, we've got our third and final question from patron of All the Right Movies, and this is Ryan Chippo. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Ryan asks, if you were assembling a cast for a Whodunit, who would you choose and what would be the setting? Matt, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I mean, I've got two ideas for this. The first one, I can't claim this is totally original because it's based on, I don't know if you've seen this clip of Sesame Street did a version of Benoit Blanc called Beignet Blanc. And there's a clip, they got Daniel Craig to watch it and he thought it was the funniest thing ever. So I think based off that, you know, like Muppets Christmas Carol, where you've just got Michael Caine as the one human actor, the rest of Muppets. You could do that with Benoit Blanc, just in the Muppets.
That's great.
And he just doesn't react to them at all. He just treats totally straight face like Michael Caine does. So I would do that in some kind of like run-down hotel in the middle of nowhere, that kind of murder mystery. The other idea is I think you could go quite meta in terms of Daniel Craig and make it about like connections with him in his past. So you could have one where you've got Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Judi Dench, Ralph Fiennes, Ben Whishaw, Naomi Harris. Then I'd have Ken Branagh in there as well for the Poirot connection. And then the last one would be Rachel Weisz, because obviously she's Daniel Craig's wife in real life.
Yeah, nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
and I think you could do something like on a Hollywood film set. Yeah. Like kind of Scream 3, that kind of meta thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great.
That'd be good. Yeah.
What about you, Westy? What's your cast and setting for the Whodunit?
Plot-wise, I'm just going to have to stick to the original. You know, there's like the family and there's been a murder in their house, and I'm just going to stick to that premise. I'm not going to go too deep into the plot or anything, but the cast would be, we've seen it all a million times, but the cast would be classic mother, father. So the mother would be Goldie Hawn.
Oh, lovely.
The dad of the family, Kurt Russell, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
The butler, Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Spoiled son and his trophy wife would be Colin Farrell and Mia Goth.
Ah, lovely.
Them two together would be hilarious. That'd be really, really good. The daughter of the family, Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And the detective who has to solve it all, Mark Ruffalo.
Oh.
Now you're talking.
There we are.
Roll them cameras.
That would be my idea for
That's
that. Would
great.
Be great. Yeah.
I mean, I love recasting questions. Very nice. Yeah. And it taps into something I mentioned earlier, because unlike the current crop of leading men who I think are quite interchangeable, the amount of exciting actresses working right now is an absolute embarrassment of riches.
It is.
Yeah. You're right.
So my Whodunit is going to be all female, and they're all playing themselves, meta.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So the setting's an old Hollywood mansion during awards season. A legendary producer, reclusive producer maybe, is hosting an after party for the ceremony. So 8 actresses, all nominated that year, all rivals, all with history. And by morning, the host is dead in the library.
Nice.
So the cast, I'm going to throw Ana de Armas in because she's amazing. I wanted to play against
Fair enough.
Okay.
So I'll play against Marta, so she's cocksure and confident. I didn't put in Mae Goth, but I should have because she's amazing as well. But I've got Anya Taylor-Joy in there, who'd be the one that everybody suspects because she's got those striking eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mikey Madison, I think she's going to be the wild card that nobody sees coming.
Yep.
Kerry Condon, who we obviously love.
Yes.
Yes.
She'd be the quiet one in the corner who knows more than she's letting on. And got Keke Palmer in there bringing energy in the one-liners, and I think she'd keep everybody on their toes. Margaret Qualley, who is just incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Thomasin McKenzie, brilliantly understated. She'd be the one that you rule out maybe a bit too early. And Zendaya as well. Biggest star in the room. She's got a target on her back and it makes her the most interesting subject of the lot. So 8 actresses, 1 mansion, 1 dead producer. Throw Daniel Craig in there as the detective and you've got your 4th Knives Out movie.
Sounds amazing.
Wow. Nice.
Get on the phone to Ryan.
Yeah, yeah.
And a great question, Ryan. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Yes,
Ryan.
thank you, mate.
So back to the film, and once Marta has made it out of the will reading, she's there with Ransom. They hightail her to a bar where he fills her full of beans and sausage. So while the Thrombey household scrabble around to salvage their lost inheritance, talking of the Slayer rule, Ransom makes Marta spill her guts one way or another, the sneaky bastard.
Spill the beans, almost.
Spill the beans.
Very good.
Now that is great because he knows it's not suicide because he killed him. And he knows about Marta's condition. And he's backed her into a corner. That's really good writing.
Yeah.
It is brilliant. Yeah.
And after Marta has told her story, we don't hear the details because we cut back to the family talking about the Slayer rule. Ransom continues his snivelling little ways by trying to cheat his way into his grandfather's inheritance. And he's a very dangerous individual because he'll happily kill his own grandfather for it. We'll later find out.
Yeah.
And he's not to be trifled with because this is an elaborate plot that he's concocted. He is a smart kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where Marta has to face up to her own reality. She did kill Harlan, and she's going to have to face the music in her eyes and in our eyes at this point.
Yep.
Yep.
And the ripple effect of which could have severe consequences for her family. And you can see that etched all over de Armas's face in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's pain, there's a weight that she's carrying around.
Yeah.
And finally, when she has a conversation with Meg comes off the phone and you think she's speaking in hushed tones because she's hiding from the family.
Yeah.
But then there's the beautiful reveal of all of the family standing behind her as the camera comes round. It reminded me of imagery from Get Out a little bit.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
Great scene.
And there is a fine display of knitwear throughout Knives Out. None more so than Ransom's impeccable chunky knit white number in this scene.
Ah, yes.
The internet went crazy for it and sales of replica sweaters went through the roof.
Yeah, oh, it's a wonderful piece.
It is like, yeah.
Oh, it's a lovely piece.
Yeah.
The costume designer was Jenny Egan, and her brief from Rian Johnson was that Ransom's clothes would be these incredibly expensive pieces that he didn't take care of. So she made holes in the sleeves of his sweater and wore down the heels on his shoes as well.
Okay,
if you look, you can see on the sleeves and on the collar, there are holes in that sweater. It's a lovely detail.
Yeah, really
Incredible.
nice.
Yeah.
So Marta has the keys to the Thrombey Kingdom, and everybody wants a piece of her.
It's a nice piece.
The crew.
A tight-knit crew on Knives Out, with Rian Johnson using crew he'd used throughout his career. We're starting with his work as writer on Knives Out, the title of which came from a Radiohead song on their Amnesiac album.
Yeah.
The working title for the film was Morning Bell, also a song from the same album.
Right. Yes.
Matt, your thoughts on Rian Johnson's screenplay?
Clearly the work of someone who knows the genre inside out, but more importantly, he knows what the appeal is. And the appeal is, they might be called Whodunit, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is the how, not the who, because we can all guess the who in any Whodunit and have a good chance of getting it right. And there's no real attempt to mask the fact Ransom's the bad guy here. The joy of it is how, and this is such an intricately created how. We think it's suicide, but then it's manslaughter. But how did it get to that point? And what are the ramifications of that? It can't just be a tragic accident. There has to be something else going on. And that's where you can't guess. And that's what Johnson knows is the key to it all. So to work out from there, the whole plan, how thorough it is, it's the kind of writing you go, I don't know where you'd even start without, let alone finish it in a way that is so detailed, but so logical at the same time. And then, as well as creating this incredibly compelling case, he's creating a new character from scratch who just leaps off the page. It's filled with really good jokes, memorable dialogue, and at the same time, it has subtext. It does talk about stuff. It talks about privilege and racism and deep-grained prejudices in American society and class. To make all of those elements and make them balance against each other, that is some achievement. I mean, we often say, don't we, on these episodes, the script was fluid, it wasn't finished, it wasn't complete by the time they got everyone had a little bit to say. I imagine this was pretty much to the letter once the camera started rolling.
Yeah. Save for Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon.
Everything else was
trying to get his own way.
Yeah. What about you, Westy? Rian Johnson's writing?
I can't really praise it highly enough. I can it creates pictures in my mind of just a completely and beautifully plaited piece of hair. But you're just watching the plaits come together, and there's about 6 different threads, but you're watching someone plait their hair, and you're thinking, this is going to be a mess at the end. Yeah. But then you look at it and you just think, well, that's just beautifully done. Yeah. It's beautifully weaved together, and that's what it reminds us of, and it's watching them do it. It's watching that plait come together and seeing how joyous that is and not worrying about the technique, because whoever you're watching do that has done it very well and knows exactly where this is going. It's the ability to flow through this film without getting agitated or frustrated.
Yes.
Like, what did that mean? Where did he go there? It seems like Rian Johnson's got just the right amount of ideas. And I think it's taken him a long time to write this because it's just been in his head more than it's been on the page. Yeah. And I think he's probably been driving somewhere or he's been filming Looper, or he's been doing Brick, just thinking, just like Harlan does, and just writing these ideas down. Oh, that would be a bit too much. Oh, the mud on the skirting board, but not hers, that's his. Right, that would just be the twist on any other narrative you would see. Oh, there's mud there, oh, there's a fingerprint there, and that's the end of it. I mean, if you think about how loose something like The Fugitive is, it's like none of that is about anything to do with like this. It's just right, he's guilty. That's it. What about the whats and the wheres and the who's? Well, that doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. That's all this film's about, and Johnson knows that, and that's where the entertainment is. That's where the genius is. But it's also the dialogue. It's also the characterization. It's also the fact that he isn't hitting cliche after cliche after cliche, but he's still trying to embody a work that is naturally built on cliche. That's what this is. It's always a whodunit. There's always a knife involved. There's always blood involved. There's always footprints and tracks and hidden entrances and mansions and rich people and poor people. He knows all of that. He takes all the cliches and he makes something brand new. That's how good the writing is.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. Even just on a surface level, you could watch it and just have fun with the mystery without having to really chime in with all of the details.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Second view, third view, fourth view, different layers reveal themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, it's the structure and the economy of the writing. Johnson does something really incredible here. He gives us the answer halfway through the film, very similar to what you're saying, Matt. We see what happened to Harlan. In any other mystery, that would kill the tension. But Johnson flips it, so instead of asking who did it, we're now like, will Marta get away with it, and how will she get away with it? And I think that's a really brave structural choice, because you're suddenly rooting for the suspect, which is the complete opposite of how these things usually work. And I think you need an incredible actress to pull that off as well. And then he pulls the rug again at the end by revealing there's another layer underneath that we didn't see coming. So it's a triple bluff. And the writing's so tight that it feels organic. And I think what makes that possible is the economy, because there's not a wasted line. Every joke, every seemingly throwaway comment, every insignificant detail comes back around. The mug, the blood on the shoe, the toxicology report, the baseball like we've discussed. Johnson plants seeds so carefully that you don't notice them until they bloom. And he does it while keeping the tone light and entertaining. It's 2 hours, 10 minutes, and it feels like 90 minutes. All killer, no filler.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it takes real confidence to lay your cards on the table at the midpoint of a mystery and back yourself to keep the audience engaged. I think it's a risk that most wouldn't take, but Johnson trusts his structure, he trusts his characters, and he trusts that the audience are smart enough to go along for the ride.
Exactly.
And we do, because I think every scene is doing at least 2 things at once. It's entertaining us and quietly setting up the next revelation. That's pretty spectacular writing. And the whole process came together in the space of a year from start to finish. Johnson started writing in January 2018. The script was done by June. Production wrapped by Christmas the same year. That's economy for you.
Like I say, I think this just been living in his head. And it just had to spill out.
And when he started writing, Rian Johnson was reminded of Alfred Hitchcock's comments in Whodunit, where he said they rely entirely on the surprise, and that outside of this, they are generally narratively weak.
Johnson said the idea was to figure out how to give the movie an engine that was something beyond just a collection of clues and the mulling over of suspects. Once I had that, I began to dig a little deeper, and that's when I came up with the actual story.
Yeah. He's got the surface level in there. That's the start point. Just the mystery is the start point.
Yeah.
And we mentioned earlier that Johnson's main inspiration was Agatha Christie, which extended to his characters. He said that she wasn't a political or socially active writer, but that she did write characters from British society that readers would have been familiar with.
So he said it was very important that we didn't just skin it with the modern day world, but that we did what Agatha Christie did and actually tried to use it to engage with some of the character types that we're experiencing today. So the family would argue, like all families do, and elements of that are political points of view that viewers could relate to in 2019. Still relevant now?
Yeah,
very relevant.
Absolutely. Johnson said that unlike noir movies, where pretty much every scene features the detective, in Christie mysteries, Poirot was often accompanied by the character of Captain Hastings, who was his sidekick.
Yeah, that's why he leaned into the character of Martha quite heavily.
Yeah.
And he also conflated the mechanics of a Hitchcock thriller like The 39 Steps, where there's the central mystery, but also a character we care about who is emotionally involved. That's what he had in mind when writing the character of Martha.
That comes across, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've mentioned it throughout, but there are a number of clues that point to Ransom's guilt running throughout the film. A few of them that we may not have mentioned. Ransom's interaction with Harlan on the night of is the only one that we don't get to see.
Yeah.
And when Harlan is talking about the family to Martha, there's a knife in the foreground covering his throat when he mentions Ransom just before he says the difference between the stage prop and a real knife.
Yeah, because he lifts it up, doesn't he, and kind of puts it across himself,
And during the will reading, Ransom is the only person not to react angrily to the news that Martha gets everything. The reason being, he already knows that he's been cut out the will and that it's all going to her.
That's right.
Blank remarks that dogs are good judge of character, as he mentioned earlier, when they greet Martha with warmth. The opposite can be said when Ransom shows up. This fact is doubled down upon when Meg is woken up by the dogs. This isn't referred to again, but we can assume that this was Ransom coming back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, that's a great little detail. It's not hammered home.
No.
Not really, no.
But it's just there.
Yeah.
So an outstanding piece of writing from Rian Johnson, honouring the genre with great affection, layers of intrigue, wonderful characters.
Wonderful writing.
Next is the music on Knives Out. We're talking about popular music in the film and the score by Nathan Johnson. Now, I think the score's a real treat. I think it's sharp, it's playful, it's got a sense of mischief running through it that mirrors the film very nicely. That opening string quartet sets the tone immediately.
Yeah.
Those precise strings that feel like they're creeping up on you. And from there, it opens out into a full orchestral score that's got some real personality to it. It's got this quality where it feels both classic and modern at the same time.
Yeah.
You can hear the influences of those grand symphonic scores from the golden age of cinema. And I actually think there's something in the strings that reminded me of Pino Donaggio's work on Don't Look Now. And going back to, we covered that on Double Feature years ago.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Some of Pino Donaggio's music in that, when we talked about it, doesn't necessarily fit the bill.
Yeah.
But I can certainly hear it in the strings.
I know what you mean. Sounds very European.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
For a film, this stuff with plot and conversation, the score doesn't overwhelm it, but it dances around the dialogue rather than trampling all over it. I think it's understated. I think it's sharp. I think it's elegant, much like the film itself. And just a credit to the song choices as well. I think they give you a peek into the characters. Joni vibing to More Than This at the party and trying to drag Linda up to dance is a joy.
Yeah.
Because we've all know that person who tries to drag you up to dance. It's horrible.
Yeah, leave us alone. Yeah.
And Blank singing Losing My Mind outside the laundromat. We'll talk about that later, but it is wonderful. He's just alone with his headphones and he's just letting it all hang out.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
And any film that ends with Sweet Virginia by the Rolling Stones, I mean, that's going to send me home happy.
Yeah.
That's a shoo-in.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where I think you would have to stream it on Spotify or something to really get into it and appreciate it. Because it's not one where it's really bombastic. The themes aren't in your face, but when you do listen to it, and I know it's difficult to judge this and say this, but I think if you listen to this, not knowing a thing about the film, I do think you would go, this sounds like a mystery genre. This sounds like the music from a Whodunit. It instantly nails the genre with the strings, the piano. As you say, Luke, it's kind of sinister, a bit foreboding. There's tension in there, but it is playful at the same time. And I think that just sums up the genre. So it's one of those where, because it is quite subtle, like, so you have to specifically listen to it. But if this wasn't in the film, you would notice so much just dead air in the film.
Yes.
You would really miss it.
There, wouldn't there?
Yeah. You know, that's what this music is doing. And then the song choices, I mean, they are sparing, but each one just hits home as well, because it does, as you say, it tells you about the character.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think the range that you will go through but it feels to me like each track on this is like a room in the house. It has its like own identity where you're going and it's moving you through the house, but you can never judge what each room's going to hold because it all seems to look the same but look so different.
Yeah.
And it all seems to sound the same but sound so different. But if you listen to that, the opening credits or the opening boom where that hits and that's massive in the mix and them dogs are running and you're like, oh yeah, this is a Sherlock Holmes film, right?
Yeah.
There's a murder mystery, there's the moors and there's the haze on it and there's fog in the background and there's a mansion. Perfect. But listen to the last track when they're all coming out, when Ransom's being taken away, that's as close to jazz as you're going to get on that soundtrack. It is totally like a 16/4 or whatever the rhythm is. It's all over the place. Totally disjointed. There's instruments coming in left, right, and center because the family are just so dispersed. Everyone's confused. Nobody knows what's going on. So it's not necessarily a soundtrack for the audience. It's just a soundtrack to kind of relate to the family what's going on. Like Matt said, you can miss this music totally. The start, yes, you can see it because you're locked in, but there's so much dialogue, there's so much going on, there's so much with the camera movements, there's so much with the technique. You forget there's music on this. And like a lot of times we've done where you have not necessarily a lazy director, but one that doesn't have the confidence that Rian Johnson has here, where the music speaks for the scene. This is how you should feel. You should feel like this. You should feel upset. You should feel mysterious. You should feel angry. You should feel horrified. None of the music does that here.
Yeah.
It basically sets the tone of the room. You're in the room and you've got to figure it out.
That's
fantastic.
Right. Yeah, I like that. It doesn't drag you by the hand, does it?
No, not at all.
No.
A lot of the music in the film aligns to the mystery at the centre of the narrative. When Martha and Ransom are in the restaurant, Gordon Lightfoot's Sundown is playing with the lyrics, "If I find you creeping round my back stairs." Very good.
Yeah.
Similarly, the song that's playing at the end is the Rolling Stones' Sweet Virginia with the lyric, "Got to scrape that shit right off your shoe." Wonderful. Great. Yeah. Not very Rian Johnson for me, though, because that's not deep enough.
No.
So I've looked into Gordon Lightfoot's Sundown.
Okay.
That song was written about a groupie who he's on and off with, Lightfoot at the time. She was called Kathy Smith. Kathy Smith, the same one, got 15 months in prison for fatally injecting a speedball that caused the death of John Belushi, the overdose.
Wow.
Which is exactly what Martha did.
Wow.
Or what she thought she did.
Yeah.
Amazing,
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Classic Rian Johnson.
Yeah. More than 3 layers to every decision he's made.
Ludicrous.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We mentioned the score, of course, and that's by Nathan Johnson. That's Ryan's cousin.
Yeah.
Right.
He's scored all of his films apart from The Last Jedi for obvious reasons.
Yeah. And from the early days of Ryan's concept, he and Nathan conceived of the music that scores the film to have a grandiose classical feel, which was unlike any other Rian Johnson movie up to that point. So they took influence from Maurice Jarre's work on Lawrence of Arabia. Nino wrote his music on Death on the Nile and the work of Bernard Herrmann in general.
Yeah.
Nice. The Johnsons saw these works as giving each instrument in the orchestra a voice. They weren't blurred into one sound. Each element had its own identity, something which was mirrored by the cast who all have their place on the chessboard.
Yeah, they've all got their kind of like audible identity.
Yeah.
Nathan started his work by visiting the set during principal photography and visited regularly to get a feel for the production, which informed his work.
Yeah.
The score was recorded at the legendary Abbey Road Studios as well.
Nice.
And I mentioned that there are multiple themes for each character. The individual Thrombey themes are all variations on the main family theme, which comes from the master of the house, Harlan Thrombey.
Yeah, Nathan said he's the stream that everyone flows out of. He created this house for them all to live in. All the stuff in the house is stuff he's written into his books.
That's great.
Yeah.
The main theme, Knives Out, string quartet in G minor, drew a line in the sand for Nathan. It plays at the opening of the film and sets the standard. And it's great.
It is
I
great.
always forget because it is really quiet. So I was turning it up yesterday. Oh, is the volume up on this? And then when
Bang!
that comes in, I was like, oh, I need to turn this down a bit.
Yes.
Fuck.
Nathan's favourite piece of music is called The Will, and it plays obviously at the will reading scene. He said, in that cue, the orchestra plays around with a gigantic string slide. The slide takes us into this unsettling craziness that begins to happen. The will is the shift in the movie. We break open the doors and we go for the throat.
Nice.
So a great combination of score and soundtrack on Knives Out, a rarity in modern cinema, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Finally, Steve Yedlin adding a touch of class to proceedings with his beautiful cinematography. Over to you, Westy.
I'm sure you've both visited the Steve Yedlin website, as I have.
For sure.
And see that it's split into 2 parts. One is cinematography and the other is colour science, which is very, very important, which is basically comparing film stocks to digital. And I think Steve Yedlin's really, really underrated as being one of them DPs who can shoot a film and you don't know if this is shot on 35mm or whether this is shot on
Definitely
digital.
not.
And I'm sure this is the first Rian Johnson film that was actually shot on digital.
Yeah.
Using the Mini. What he brings to this is it's timeless. This isn't going to age.
I agree.
You can watch any other film from that period and they're all got the orange and teal or they've all got this kind of backlight. But this just sits and it won't age. And I think that's just down to its distinctive look. Like Seven has a look, but this necessarily doesn't. And that's what I mean by that timeless nature. I think everything has a warmth and a softness, but he's using soft light, he's using hard light, but it's nothing that's really definitive. It just works in each sequence and it just balances each sequence. I think the skin tones are just perfect. It's just so in the middle where it doesn't push or pull the audience anyway. And that's where it reminds me of the music, because that's it and it's not distracting in any way. It just tells the story, but he tells it so beautifully and just has this real kind of look to the grain, this real authentic feel to the camera movements. It just feels like everything's just so well thought through and you can see it's all so well planned. And the technique and the camera work in this film is just as important as the dialogue because it helps the dialogue and it helps the music and it helps the plot by just sweeping one camera to the next. There's not one move in this film where you think that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know, just that slow push on Ransom when they're talking about the will. It's just so necessary. It's not like, oh, well, you're just going to sit on him and just stay there. It's just, and he's smiling. It's just, when you watch it again, you go, that makes perfect sense. There's so many complicated moves, complicated lighting setups. You know, there's reflections in the glasses. They're taking that away so they can actually have the crew where they need them to be in certain points. There's just so many things that are just so important. And it's so reflective in his work in that it looks so simple. It looks so straightforward. But even that opening shot at like 200 frames a second, the two dogs running past, and you don't really know it's two dogs until just at the right moment. And then they come past the frame and the framing of the house and to get that right, that takes a lot of time. And they didn't really have a lot of time to do that. And this looks like it took about 4 years to shoot. It definitely didn't. And that's how good it is. 6 weeks, and it looks like it took 4 years.
Yeah, incredible.
It's really excellent, really accomplished filmmaking, and I think Yedlin had a lot to do with the look, the style, and it's a film that definitely won't age.
No, I agree. 20 years' time, it'll still look brand new.
It'll still look really fresh,
Yeah, I think it's really impressive. I think it ties in to what I was saying about Johnson's use of depth. That Ames Mansion is the star of the show visually, and I think Yedlin makes it feel both inviting and oppressive at the same time. Yeah. Because he uses those wide lenses so you can feel the space around the characters. And I think that's crucial in a film like this because the house itself is telling you so much about these people.
Yeah.
And the way he lights the interiors is great, using the natural light coming through those big windows. Two great uses of light. First one is when Meg is on the phone to Martha in that scene that we've just been talking about. There's a strip of light over her eyes.
Yeah.
Everything around her face is dark apart from that. Don't listen to the words coming out of her mouth. She's lying. The eyes tell you everything.
Yeah.
And the second is when Walt comes to see Martha at home in a scene we're going to be talking about in a bit. There's a slither of light that comes through the window behind him when he's offering Martha's family help. But he quickly covers over that when things turn sinister, the light goes. Great use of light.
Yeah.
And there's an exuberance to the visuals when the family are together. Everything is bright and cluttered and alive. But as the mystery deepens and the mood shifts, the lighting pulls back and the shadows creep in a little bit. It mirrors the narrative without ever being heavy-handed with it.
Yeah.
The camera's always finding something new to look at, always repositioning to reveal a detail or a reaction. And I think it keeps you engaged in a film that's essentially set in one location for most of its runtime. I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, it's
Great
set
work.
in one location, but shot in three. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, but they look like one location as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Matt, your thoughts on Steve Yedlin's work?
I mean, he's Rian Johnson's right-hand man, isn't he? As we said, worked with him on all of his films, and I think this is just such a great partnership because I would never describe Rian Johnson as a purely visual filmmaker. You never go, that's a typical Rian Johnson shot.
Yeah.
He's not that type of director. He's more of a storyteller, I'd say. So that's why he needs someone like Yedlin who, whatever Johnson gives him, he knows how to make it work. I mean, to go from a high-skill noir like Brick to Star Wars and then these films, I mean, that's some range that Yedlin has.
Yeah.
And he understands the genre and this film is so dialogue heavy that his challenge is to stop it being stagey, which it easily could be. So, I mean, you've mentioned the deep focus, Luke, the brilliant production design, but for me, it's about the framing. It's about moving that camera very deliberately, very fluidly to accentuate the drama. So, like when the family overhear the argument between Harlan and Ransom and he storms out, the way the camera just pans around to catch Ransom storming out.
Yeah, that's great.
The way the camera pushes in or zooms out during those opening interviews, and sometimes it cuts to a mid, sometimes it cuts to a close-up, just keeping it snappy visually. When Harlan confronts Joni, it starts off with him holding the baseball in the foreground, then just pulls around the desk to reveal him. I mean, this is all very simple stuff, but sometimes the simple stuff is still the best.
Yeah.
Because this is what stops it. As I say, it being stagey, it brings it to life. And there's a very strong visual identity to this film. Yedlin is behind that, and I honestly think he's the unsung hero of the film.
Yeah, absolutely is.
A number of characters in the film wear glasses, which started to create a problem. You mentioned it, Westy, in the interview scenes where the reflection of the crew could easily be seen in the likes of Linda's glasses.
Yeah. Well, to combine this, if you've seen the behind-the-scenes shots, the key grip Matt Mania, which is our Matt's new nickname, by the way.
Yeah, it's the greatest name in the world.
To create mats, which is great because a mat is just basically something that you shine a light through. It can called a gobo to go over the front of the lighting rigs. So they're just like squares cut out of them that look like a window. So these were opaque shapes that went over the lights, as we've said, to create the illusion of the reflection in the glasses. So there's windows, other shapes in the room, to having all these mats on the stands and just moving them around to hide the crew just so they can get the shots that they need is amazing.
Yeah, that is great. It means that Yedlin could keep in real reflections in the glasses, maintaining the realism, and obviously didn't need to do VFX post-production.
Yeah.
It looks great because it would just be the crew in Jamie Curtis's glasses.
Yeah.
And this is the first film that Rian Johnson shot entirely digitally, and this allowed him to use minimal lighting as digital needs less lighting rigs than shooting on film, and this was essential considering the majority of the film was shot inside.
Yeah, tight spaces.
Yeah.
Despite being shot digitally, Johnson wanted a film look, and Steve Yedlin was able to achieve this with some jiggery-pokery in post. Johnson said Steve did all this crazy colour science. Obviously, that's why there's a dedication to it on his website, Westy.
Yeah.
And he said he added grain and gate weave and all the stuff you need to make this look like film, and it comes across like that.
It really does.
There's a texture to it.
Yeah. And like we said, Yedlin shot on the Alexa Mini using Zeiss Master Primes, and he also used Panavision Primos, the PCZ and the PCW, which are compact zooms. Amazing. Which obviously gives you a little bit more space when the wide angles are being used, so you get the closer shots of the actual characters individually, which really just ramps up the tension as well.
Yes.
So you get the characters, the action in the background, the depth that we've already talked about, but also using these compact zooms to really punch in and accentuate the details. Fantastic stuff.
So stunning work from those behind the camera, adding to Knives Out prestige and identity. Special mention should also go to Bob Duxey's editing and the incredible production design by David Crank.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
The end.
The walls are closing in on Marta as the Thornby family attempt to tighten their grip, but a shocking revelation at the laundromat sets Blank's mind racing about donuts.
Yeah.
First up, Marta, under pressure from the Thornbys, from the media, from lawyers, slips out of her house the back way and is startled by Walt, who comes lumbering towards her, backlit with that incredible lighting that I mentioned earlier. Who knows what he was up to, considering Marta shocks him and he makes a feeble attempt at covering his tracks. Hey, how you doing? But he was going to say something else.
Yeah.
So who knows what he was up to? I really like the performance from Michael Shannon here. We've talked about him because Shannon, as an actor, he's got this reputation at playing strange, unhinged, weird characters.
Yeah.
But up to now, Walt has been this trampled upon whipping boy in the Thornby family.
Yeah.
He's Fredo Corleone, isn't he?
He is. Fredo,
But he really leans into the Michael Shannon that we know and love in this scene. Creepy, unpredictable, probably a bit of a sleaze as well.
Yeah.
When he's putting the squeeze on Marta about the inheritance and reveals that he knows about her mother's illegal residential status. So the stakes are raised. But Marta gets out of it beautifully. She says, so you're saying that with the family's resources, you could help me fix it. So my mother wouldn't need to go away. And Walt thinks he's cracked it. Yeah. But then Marta ties him up in knots. All right, okay. So Harlan gave me all of your resources. So with my resources, I'll be able to fix it. So I guess I'll be able to find the right lawyers.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing writing. And great to see Marta sticking up for herself and not being allowed to be bullied.
Yeah, which is always the case when it comes to our mother.
Yeah.
It is.
We've got the chance to get the evidence that we need, but it's all gone up in flames, it seems. So what kind of person would burn down a whole building? Well, he's sitting right next to you, I think. And that's the point. And we're so invested in this moment where Ransom's like asking her all the questions. Did you get an email? Well, there it is. And it's just clear as day on later viewings what he's doing. He's such a snake. And he's so much there. And then you see Blanc, he's got this telephoto, so it's miles away, so it was spying on him, and he then clocks Marta, and you think, well, Blanc's coming for it. He's sussed it out now. They've gone too far. There's no CCTV footage. That's great. That didn't really need to be in there. Great. And then what ensues is just incredible. The dumbest car chase of all time, as Elliot says later on. But it is a car chase at the same pace as the whole narrative. It goes at 60 miles an hour because the whole film's going between 30 and 60. It doesn't break the speed limit, as the narrative doesn't break your intelligence limit. It doesn't take you too far. It doesn't speed out of control. And I love that little moment as well where you see her phone and it's the screen smashed.
Yes.
And everyone else's phone is pristine and it's all fine, but she's kind of working through it. But it just says maybe be Blanc on it. That's brilliant. So he's in there somewhere. And then it's the way that she takes people on here. It's Marta outfoxing them, not outrunning them. So it's like she's playing the same game again and getting through the smaller gaps using her ability and using her car, which is an import, by the way, Hyundai. It's obviously not made there. So it's, again, reflects who she is and her personality, and she's slipping away from the authorities. And then we'll get to the point where you think they've outran them, and they pull up, and you've got just talking around something, and he then reiterates the address as if he knows it off by heart. And it's just because obviously he's involved in all that. And then she's apologized. Sorry, I got you into this. And it's just that knock on the window. It's just like, they're just there. They haven't got time to talk about this. It's so good because it's just really grounded in that realism. It's just there. And she's got her hands up. And we think, right, well, she's getting pulled in now because they found this and they know that somebody climbed at the trellis. And then they bring Ransom in, and she brings her arms down and just reveals Blanc's behind her as if, like, I've got your back, don't worry about it. Love that. It's a great control of the narrative, great control of motivations for each character, and more importantly, it's a great control of pacing. He doesn't lose track of it here, which he could have very, very easily.
Yeah, it's a great sequence. Amazing when Blanc pulls up beside Marta in the car and gestures towards his phone, like, pick it up.
It's me ringing you. Maybe be Blanc. Definitely is.
And this scene starts off with the medical examiners building up in flames. A scene before this, when Marta goes to see Ransom at his house, there's an array of jugs behind him, and there's a space where it appears one is missing.
Right.
That is the jug that Ransom used for the Molotov cocktail to burn down the medical examiner's office.
Nice. Love that.
Brilliant.
Oh, God.
I know.
So much.
It's great.
I'm getting a headache just thinking about how much genius this is. We're nearly finished.
And during this car chase, you can see a nod to Rian Johnson's first film, Brick. The midnight tunnel symbol can be seen spray painted on the wall when they go down the back alley, which looks like the letter A.
Oh, that rounded A.
Yeah, curved A. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Nice little touch.
And then finally, about 90 minutes in the film, we get what is the closest thing to a murder, which, we've just not had so far. And it's the one thing you're expecting, because this is Marta finding Fran in the basement. And it's another great example of the film taking you on one track and then just spinning you in another way, because up until now, Fran has been just a peripheral figure, really. Yeah. And now we find her, she's tied up, injected with morphine in the basement. What's she got to do with this now? What's happening now? Like, is she really blackmailing Marta? Because that seems to have come out of nowhere. That doesn't ring true. And of course, you get another clue here as to who's actually behind all this. Hugh did it, which is, so easy to miss first time around. And it's just classic stuff, really. Creepy basement, dripping water, dark shadows, sudden spider across the face. It's all brilliantly done. Yeah. But it says everything about Marta as a character that even in this moment, her first reaction is to try to save Fran with CPR and then get her to hospital, even though if Fran is saved, it's going to expose Marta. Yeah. Because, got to admit, she still thinks she's responsible for Harlan's death, and someone's going to expose her, even if it's Fran. And she's so intent on confessing, like, even though that means she'll forfeit the inheritance, like, even in the hospital waiting room, she tells Marta that's what she has to do. Yeah. So it's very funny when it does cut to Blanc singing along in the car, oblivious to the ambulance pulling up, oh Lord, until he realises it. But it's another brilliant moment because you just don't know where this is going now. And increasingly, it's getting more and more tense because we know we're getting to the end and there's just no sign that Marta can get out of this in any way, shape or form.
No,
Yeah, we mentioned the film earlier, The Last of Sheila, when discussing Rian Johnson's influences for the film. Massive influence on Glass Onion.
Yeah.
The start of it.
Right.
That film was co-written by Stephen Sondheim, the Broadway composer. Sondheim also wrote the song Losing My Mind for the play Follies, which Blanc sings in the car when he's waiting for Marta outside the laundromat.
Yeah.
Right.
And Daniel Craig, being a big Liza Minnelli fan, surprisingly, requested that Johnson use the Minnelli version of Losing My Mind for this scene.
Nice. And to tie it all together, Laurence Olivier based his character in the film Sleuth on Stephen Sondheim himself.
Brilliant.
Another layer. Another detail.
It's incredible.
It's like the biggest lasagna I've ever seen. 10-foot lasagna.
So Ransom is arrested, Fran has been poisoned, and Marta is going to spill her guts to the family. Thankfully, Blanc knows more than he's letting on.
Thank God.
Thank God, yeah.
We're bringing it all back home with Blanc confronting Ransom, Ransom confronting Marta, and the aftermath with the Thromby family unit in tatters. And we're starting with the hole at the centre of this donut. A donut hole in a donut's hole, but now the donut hole has a hole in its centre. It is a small donut with its own hole, and now a donut is not whole at all. What on earth are you talking about, Benoit?
Great metaphor. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Lynch, but taking it a step further.
Yeah.
As you mentioned there, what is going on? But Johnson was on the verge of removing Blanc's whole donut analogy from the film. Craig convinced him to give him a shot at the speech, and his delivery encouraged Johnson to keep it in. I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
It does make sense of it.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled he kept it in because it's just such delicious dialogue and delivery.
Yeah.
Benoit unravels an intriguing combination of factors. Is it Fran? No, the answer is not so simple. A great visual of Benoit Blanc with the knife mural behind him, like you mentioned earlier, Westy.
Yeah.
Hugh Ransom Drysdale is then brought in, and he's completely underestimated Benoit here, or thought he was smarter than him. And then we go right back to the night of with a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Your quote at the top, Matt. It's my favourite line in the film because Benoit Blanc's now revealing his actual personality. He's not this Mr. Nicey.
No.
Yeah.
He is quite cynical and he is quite sarcastic.
Yeah. He's playing his hand now, isn't he?
He's played his hand.
Yeah.
What were the overheard words by the Nazi child masturbating in the bathroom? Holy shit. That's great.
Yeah, he's not messing about.
It turns out Ransom was furious that he was cut off from Harlan, that Marta was getting it, and then he forms a plan. He sneaks in, switches the medications, then steals the antidote. Turns out that Marta gave Harlan the right medication and Harlan would have been fine.
Yeah.
But he goes back the next day, suicide on his hands, the plot thickens. I love that shot that pushes past the knife configuration, zooms into Blanc as he turns around and says, "Enter Benoit Blanc."
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And a mention to the conversation that Fran had earlier with Marta about a film she saw called Deadly by Surprise, starring Danica McKellar. She's basically telling the details of Harlan's death. She got poisoned unknowingly, then committed suicide. And that's what Marta references here. She was telling me what was happening.
Yeah.
Also, Danica McKellar is a real actress. When she realised she got name dropped in the film, she sent Johnson a knife engraved with Deadly by Surprise as a gift.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Amazing.
Very nice. So this is just a wonderfully constructed plan and counter plan. It's airtight, but it's very difficult to wrap your head around it. Like I said at the top, just committing to the writing like this, a commitment to the mystery that Rian Johnson has, and a great example of seeing it through to the third act, all the way through, sticking the landing, but we're not done yet, are we, Matt?
We're not. Because then Marta takes the call from the hospital. Fran's okay. Ransom's under arrest, but not before he reveals even more of his true colours with this ranted Marta. We took you into our home. We welcomed you in our family, and now you think you can steal it from us. It's the voice of unearned privilege speaking. She's done nothing wrong, apart from being a far better person to his grandfather than Ransom ever was. And he just can't see that at all. And when he calls it our birthright, our ancestral family home, it's clear what he means. She's not American, so therefore she's worthless. She's inferior because he's white, and that's all that matters. But it doesn't kind of hammer it home too much. It just moves on.
Yes.
Because then when Blanc laughs in his face, that is hooey. Harlan bought it from a Pakistani real estate billionaire.
In the 80s.
In the 80s. Yeah, exactly. So the whole thing is bullshit. It's all built, this whole family is built on bullshit. And Ransom's reaction is so funny because he just can't take it anymore. Oh, shut up, Blanc. Shut up. Shut up with that Kentucky Fried Foghorn Leghorn drawl.
Yeah.
It's the last straw for him. And then it's just more revelations come thick and fast. Ransom, he just confesses everything because he's so smug in his privileged belief that he still won't get serious jail time because he's got a great lawyer.
Yeah.
Is really in Marta's face. She then spews in his face, so Fran's actually dead. She's been lied to. He's screwed. So as he says, in for a penny. And that slow-mo lunge with a knife, the way the camera follows the pair of them down, that's an amazing shot. And then we get the payoff we mentioned earlier. Harlan talking about Ransom saying he wouldn't even know the difference between a real knife and a prop knife.
Yeah.
And the brilliance is we've all forgotten that line. So there's about 10 seconds where you think, oh shit, he's killed her, because it looks like he has. Until he pulls it out. And the expression on his face when he just tries it again twice just to double check it's fake and it won't go in. He goes, well, shit. It's such a brilliant way to wrap it up for these two characters because it sums them up. Ransom can't tell the difference between a real knife and a prop knife, but Marta can tell the difference between the two vials of medicine.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
The fake vomit in this scene was made up of baby food. The cast were fascinated by the concoction, and de Armas said that they all went outside with the fake vomit to test the texture and to see how far they could projectile it.
Evans said simply about the whole scene, I didn't love getting the puke in my face.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then there's that really brilliant sit down between Marta and Blanc when they're across from each other.
Yeah.
There's no bullshit. Straight down the line. Everything's on the table now. And he says you got away with it not by playing their game or Harlan's game, but by playing your own, just by being a genuine good person. And I think that's a wonderful message to anybody watching it. It's like, you know, you can't fuck up anything that's meant for you. So just be genuine and just be nice. And everything that lands should land for a reason. And that's the whole point. This feels wide open for me because I feel like she's going to make them earn their way back. I don't think she takes everything and shuts the door. I think because Blanc says, I have a feeling you will, feeling you'll follow your heart, basically. You're a good, because you're a good person, because you're a kind person. You're not really going to let them suffer, but at the same time, she's not letting them off the hook. I don't think she's slamming the door in the face. She's now above them, towering above them. She's now in charge of them. So she is now at the place where they are her help, really. And they switch places and they'll be known and they have to now work to get recognition. They now have to work to be part of that house. So I think she will welcome them back in, but tails between the legs. Yeah. Right. I think it's her coffee, her rules, her house. Yeah. And that's the whole point. I don't think she slams the door on anybody.
Okay.
But it's good that it ends in that shut off and it doesn't go, and a year later, and Harlan's now doing this, and they're doing this.
No,
and that would be absolutely crap. So a wonderful ending to a wonderful film.
Yeah. It is. It really, really is.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the very first shots we see, apart from the establishing shot of the dogs running out, is the real close-up of that mug, which says, my house, my rules, my coffee on it. And it bookends the film beautifully. And I think Johnson wanted to put something in. It's got the first shot of the big imposing house. He wanted to break the tension with kind of a goofy modern joke mug, but it's got more to it than that. There's more subtext in that, and it really hits home. When that brings it up, you don't really see all of the words either. It's a close-up on her, and she owns that mug now, which I think is even better. Yeah,
during production, Johnson thought it'd be a good idea to include it in the final shot where Marta takes a sip. Johnson said, then we were doing that close-up, she was in the balcony area, and I yelled up, sip the tea, and she brought it into frame, and those words came up, obscured, like you said, Westy, but we know what it means.
Yeah.
And he said, it was a perfect ending to the film, and it is. It's great. It's a great bookend.
It is brilliant the way that just cuts. He must have just known right there, just cut that.
Yeah, done. So a glorious ending with everyone getting exactly what they deserve.
Yes.
Yeah. Or maybe not. It's a
Reception and awards.
Knives Out premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 7th, 2019, and was met with a rapturous reception. To safeguard the film until the late November general release, Johnson said at the festival, like Hitchcock said, please don't spoil our ending. It's the only one we've got.
Nice.
Yeah, the buzz continued to grow as the film played at Fantastic Fest in Austin, the Chicago International Film Festival, and the BFI London Film Festival.
Yeah, it did a little bit of a tour, and when it was finally released, 27th of November, it was a massive critical hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Kermode, writing in The Observer, gave it 4 out of 5 and said, as with the very best whodunits, everything is set up and sneakily signalled in the opening moments of the drama, but it's only on second viewing that those early clues become evident. Rian Johnson's homage to Agatha Christie delivers laughs, twists and thrills with aplomb.
Kermode knows what time it is.
Yep.
Yeah. In Empire, the film also got 4 out of 5, saying Rian Johnson put his own spin on Dashiell Hammett with 2005's Brick. Now he's Johnsonized the work of Agatha Christie with equal enjoyable results. Knives Out is snappy, meta, and yes, sharp.
It is that.
It's
for certain. Unfortunately, Roger Ebert was no longer with us when Knives Out was released, but it was reviewed by Brian Tallarico on RogerEbert.com.
Right.
What do you think the Brian man gave it out of 4, fellas?
3.5.
Yeah, I'll go 3.
Did they go halves?
Yeah, they went halves.
3.5.
And they also went 3.5, Westy. Well done.
Right.
3.5 out of 4. Mm-hmm. He said, Rian Johnson's Knives Out is one of the most purely entertaining films in years. It is the work of a cinematic magician, one who keeps you so focused on what the left hand is doing that you miss the right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it has 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb, and on Rotten Tomatoes, 97% from critics, 92% from audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Big reviews led the way for big box office numbers. On a $40 million budget, Knives Out returned $312.9 million worldwide, a whopper.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Big one, yeah.
It was never going to be a big fish during awards season, but it performed admirably. It got 1 Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay, but lost out to, can you guess, 2020?
2020 was our Parasite.
Boom. Just like that, Matt.
Boom.
Love it.
There we go.
Matty Mania.
The same nomination and winner at the BAFTAs as well.
Mm-hmm. It did get more awards at the Golden Globes, so 3 in total. Best Actor for Daniel Craig, Best Actress for Ana de Armas, and Best Film in Musical or Comedy.
It did get 3 wins at the Saturn Awards, Best Thriller, Best Supporting Actress for de Armas, and Best Editing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So critical and box office success for a film that cinemagoers took to their hearts. A few smatterings of award nominations didn't go amiss either. All in all, an incredibly successful venture for a genre that some thought had its day.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sequels and influence.
In an interview with Variety at the time of release, Rian Johnson said that he was interested in expanding the Knives Out world, but besides Benoit Blanc, he had no interest in bringing any other characters back.
No, that's very Agatha Christie, that, I think. And he also said, each Knives Out film is something I want to make. If that stops being the case, we won't do another one.
But he was true to his word. Rian Johnson signed a 2-picture deal with Netflix and in 2022 released the sequel, Glass Onion, starring Daniel Craig, Janelle Monáe, Ed Norton, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, and Madeline Klein. It has 91% on Rotten Tomatoes and 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yes, indeed. Then Johnson followed that up with Wake Up Dead Man in 2025, starring Daniel Craig, of course, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Jeremy Renner, Kaylee Spaney, Mila Kunis, and Josh O'Connor.
Yeah.
92% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. Similar, both Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man followed Knives Out's path in being named after songs.
Yes.
Glass Onion, The Beatles, Wake Up Dead Man, U2.
Yes.
So, 2 sequels. Westy, what are your thoughts on them?
I mean, they're brilliant. This is a brilliant trilogy. I do prefer Wake Up Dead Man. If I have to pick one out of the 2 sequels, I love Knives Out, but I think Wake Up Dead Man was just slightly more refined. I think Glass Onion felt a bit rushed, but I think shifting the pace totally for Wake Up Dead Man works. The location's different. Everything just feels different. And it feels like it's had a lot more thought put into it. But one of the best trilogies of recent years.
Oof, yes, big claim. I love it.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? Thoughts on the sequels?
Yeah, I think I'm very, very similar here. I mean, yeah, in general, it's an incredibly strong trilogy. They do have pretty much the same level of quality throughout, but I think if I did have to pick one as the weakest, it would be Glass Onion. I think it's just a little bit overstuffed, a little bit too many celeb cameos in there, a little overlong.
Bit too glossy in it.
Bit too glossy. In the murder, the heart of it just isn't that interesting compared to Knives Out. And the one thing they've nailed every time out is casting who the film is really about, because Janelle Monáe is brilliant in Glass Onion.
Oh, she's amazing.
That twist, and it could be easy if you've not got around to it, but that twist where you realise she's playing twins and she's playing a dead sister, that's incredible. Yeah. Yeah, I did think Wake Up Dead Man was much closer to Knives Out. I loved the gothic setting. Again, impeccable casting. Josh O'Connor is so good.
Yes. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. And it might just have the best murder of the three so far.
Okay. Yeah.
And like Knives Out, it's got a bit more subtext to it. You know, it is about faith and belief, which I think just adds a lot to it. So, yeah, that's how I feel about them.
Yeah, I'm not dissimilar in any way to you two fellas. I think they are inferior to Knives Out, but they are great. I watch them pretty much as often as the original. They've become a nice Christmas film because of their release dates as well, which I think is quite nice.
Yeah.
I think Wake Up Dead Man is probably better than Glass Onion, but there's not much in it.
No.
And it would be possibly competing with Knives Out were it not for some elements of the third act that didn't sing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say that my favourite performance across the sequels is, like you, Matt, Janelle Monáe in Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Whoa, an impeccable Jewel Rowe. She's amazing.
Yeah.
But niggles aside, I love that the settings are different. I love the ensemble cast, the mysteries, and Johnson and Craig returning is always a joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is a modern film, but there's been a lot that's come in its wake. So in the years since its release, where we've seen Knives Out influence and legacy, in terms of legacy, I think Knives Out basically reinvented the murder mystery for the 2020s. Before this film came along, the genre was in a bit of a rut. Kenneth Branagh had done Murder on the Orient Express, which was fine. It looked nice.
Yeah.
But it felt like I've seen it all before.
Stuffy.
Yeah.
Stuffy.
No risks with it, was there?
No risks, no. But Knives Out came along and showed everybody that you could honour the traditions of Christie in the golden age of the Whodunit while making something that felt contemporary and vital and funny and had something to say about the world we live in. That's a much harder trick to pull off.
Yeah.
And the ripple effect has been enormous. Since Knives Out, you've had See How They Run, The Thursday Murder Club, Murder Mystery and its sequel, countless Agatha Christie adaptations popping up on Netflix and other streamers.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Death on the Nile and A Haunting in Venice were greenlit because of Knives Out.
Sure. Yeah.
But my favourite thing to come out of the whole Renaissance is Rian Johnson's Poker Face starring the magnificent Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, you love
it's
that.
It's a different format. It's episodic. It's TV. It's a how catch 'em rather than a whodunit. But it's got that same energy. Great writing. Great characters. And Natasha Lyonne is, I mean, you know how I feel about her. She's amazing.
Yes.
You do love that. Yeah.
Matt, what do you think?
In terms of legacy and influence, I think just heartening that a completely original idea in an old established genre can work. And hopefully its legacy will be more directors, writers, whoever, start doing that with their own ideas. I think legacy-wise, this obviously made Ana de Armas the star that she is today. It's absolutely huge for her career. But maybe its biggest legacy is on Daniel Craig himself, because pretty much every other actor who's took on the Bond role, probably the only exception being Connery, that's the role that will always define them in the public eye and the struggle to escape that. I honestly think you look at Daniel Craig and just as many people will go, Benoit Blanc, that's his best role, not Bond.
Yeah.
Easily. And he's completely escaped the shackles of Bond now. And he was great as Bond. Certainly not saying anything different.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's always going to be another Bond. I can't imagine anyone else doing the Benoit Blanc role.
No way.
Yeah, I think one of its biggest legacy is where to put Daniel Craig as an actor.
Fantastic. What about you, Westy? Influence and legacy?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate what both you guys are saying. I think it's bringing intelligent cinema back to the masses, which is huge. Yeah, thank God for that. That's just shown that cinema is alive and it is well, but you need an auteur and you need somebody who understands where it came from. You know, it showed the casts of big names can get along. It showed that it's not about that anymore. The egos are out the window. Everybody knows everything about everybody's lives. So the status of an actor isn't necessarily on top of everything else. Ana de Armas came from nothing when she did this, really.
Yeah.
We're going to really have to test actors and we're going to have to give them space and freedom to perform, and directors space and freedom to create, because if you do that and you put it on the page and you make sure you do it right and you give them the money to perform, you're going to get actors who are happy, you're going to get crews that are really inventive, you're going to get directors who are really excited, and you're going to get 3 films that are really excellent and are going to make money. So sit back, pay attention, and look at what can be done when you give nerds like through 30 million.
Yeah.
Because we're all good at making money and we don't need explosions to do it, and that's its legacy.
Great. Wonderful. And what a legacy it is.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So a modern film that we can safely say has made a huge impact on the industry already, and with 2 sequels under its belt, are we able to consider the Knives Out trilogy one of the best there is?
I think so.
I think that's been the conversation now, yeah.
All the right movies ranking.
Knives Out Beaks Bloody for our final segment, where we rank the film and score it out of 10. Westy,
yeah,
why don't you start?
I've been singing its praises throughout the whole podcast, and understandably why, because the more you watch this film, the more you appreciate it, the more you understand it. But it is one that I think when we're talking about every review, the 1 star off, the half a star off, the reserve and judgment for something. And I feel exactly the same way. I feel like I'm not 100% satisfied by it, and I don't quite know why, because there's nothing else you can fit into this fucking film. To be perfectly honest, it's got everything you need, from a car chase to a murder to commentary it's got on social situations, racial situations. It's all in here. Fantastic performances throughout. But I do feel like there's just something missing, and it will click with us eventually, and I think it will come in time. I think it's one of them films that you need to leave to marinate a little bit and come back to it and realize how special it is. So I'm not going to give it top marks right now. Might do in a few years' time, but it's a definite 9 on 10 for me. And like I say, I can't quite put my finger on why it's not top, but it just isn't for some reason. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means I might have a little bit more to find.
Okay, yeah, hey, I understand that, Westy.
Yeah.
We've been unequivocal here. Knives Out is a joy. The cast are top of the line, including a larger-than-life Daniel Craig, whose Benoit Blanc has transcended the film, I think.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson's direction doesn't get the credit it deserves for me. It has a great narrative and really outstanding writing. That screenplay, that should be taught in film school.
It should.
I'd say that it's a pitch-perfect film. For what it sets out to achieve, it's pretty much flawless and cements its place in the lineage of the all-time great murder mystery films. Like you, Westy, my natural reflex would be to go for a 9 without even thinking about it. Knives Out, easy 9 out of 10. But then going through this and analysing that score, I need something to bring it down to 9, and I couldn't find anything.
I know, I'm the same. It's going to be time for me. I can't do it.
I don't need any time. It's a perfect 10.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
There
Fair
you go.
enough.
What about you, Matt?
I think films like Knives Out should just be celebrated from the rafters, because the next time anyone comes home from the cinema and you've been disappointed by the latest remake, the latest reboot, the latest 8th sequel to Scream or whatever, and you go, oh, no originality in Hollywood anymore. Put Knives Out on and you'll feel 1,000 times better, and you'll realise actually people are making original films. I mean, granted, yes, Rian Johnson had a substantial career before this to fall back on and get the backing, but all the same, that wasn't a guarantee for him. For what he wanted to make, with no concessions to anyone, and it was such a massive hit, and that should give anyone who's got an original idea motivation. Keep at it, because you can find your audience. It's an incredibly entertaining film. I'm always in the mood for it. The idea of a Benoit Blanc marathon across 3 consecutive nights, or even in one night, is a wonderful one. I'm sure I'll do that soon. Daniel Craig can't get enough of that performance. De Armas, Evans, they're up there with him. But really, it took for me to really analyse it in the way that we have done in the run-up to this, to realise just how much detail is in this film, how much thinking behind everything, not just the plot, but the visuals, the soundtrack. This, for me, is something that absolutely fulfills the brief of being a modern classic. So it's a 10 for me as well.
Wow.
Boom.
Yeah.
Very nice. Our 4th and final score for Knives Out comes from our Patreon community, those great guys and gals. Before the twist ending, here are some of their musings on the film. Derek Horrigan said, really enjoyed this. Fun, exciting, and a genuine whodunit. Daniel Craig breaking free of the Bond shackles and creating a genuinely great new character, and one of the many Hollywood Chris's actually giving a good performance.
Yes.
Fair one.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
Yep.
Catherine Price said, I still remember how fun it was seeing Knives Out in the theatre with my extended family, and how we kept laughing and talking about it for days. It's just an all-round great movie, and whoever talked Daniel Craig into becoming a live-action foghorn leghorn detective deserves a Nobel Prize. It's a 10.
Wow.
Yep.
Just like that. Very nice.
Yeah, lovely.
And finally, Matt T. Overall, I've landed on a 9. I was edging towards 8.5, but I reflected the original idea to hang together this big cast to introduce James Bond as something completely new and interesting. I love how it's shot. I love how it doesn't cheat the audience. And when compared to the second one, which is still a good movie, it shows its quality from a filmmaker that clearly loves this era of detective fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. We're all singing from the same hymn sheet here.
We are, yeah.
A lot of positivity.
Yeah.
What does that mean overall for the Patreon score out of 10, chaps?
I'm going to say an 8.
I'll go 9.
It was a 9.
Brilliant.
Very solid showing, meaning that out of 40, Knives Out scores an incredibly high 38.
Wow.
Excellent.
Fully deserved.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All the Right Movies will be back in 2 weeks when John, Westy and Matt will be staying in the 21st century in more ways than one, when they tell the making of story of Alfonso Cuarón's outstanding Children of Men.
Oh, boy. That's a total whiplash.
Yeah.
That's a change of pace.
Yeah.
Nice little slice of misery. It's got this isn't miserable enough, so it loses a point.
That's right, yeah.
Children of Men.
There it
11
is.
out of 10.
For our studio head and director's chair patrons, last week we tackled Trey Parker and Matt Stone on double feature when we talked about South Park, Bigger, Longer and Uncut and Team America World Police.
Yep.
We
did.
We tread carefully, and of course, it's all in context.
It is.
It
All
is
in
all in
context.
context.
Yeah.
A hilarious episode, so sign up to be an ATRM patron for that, with a new episode of The Watch List coming at the start of March.
Yes.
If you haven't done it already, please give us a positive rating on your podcast platform of choice. It helps us get noticed, so anything you could do would be much appreciated.
Yes, it would be, guys. That would be
indeed,
amazing. Thank you.
And as ever, we're on social media around the clock. We're on X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. Our Making of Movie threads go up on X and Blue Sky, and just like our podcasts, we go into minute detail on behind-the-scenes facts and anecdotes, with all information coming from at least 3 sources or from the mouths of the cast and crew.
Yeah.
You can join our Facebook group for another wonderful movie community full of great people.
Yep.
Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/alltherightmovies, where you can also listen to our podcasts. And our website is alltherightmovies.com.
It is.
And that is a wrap, everyone. We're off to examine a donut hole within a donut hole.
Yes, we are.
We are peckish.
We are peckish. Yeah.
Thanks very much for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Come back in 2 weeks for Children of Men.